Follow your bliss, and the universe will open doors for you where there were only walls. Joseph Campbell. Aloha, fellow light guardians, dreamers, and heroes on this journey. Welcome back to another Paradigm Shift Central Team podcast. My name is Brendon, aka Mystic Spider-Man, and tonight's topic is on the spiritual wisdom of the hero's journey. So we're going to get right into this, and as per usual, I am joined by some fellow amazing heroes on tonight's podcast, our leading members. So fellow leading members, let's just do our regular routine and do like a little bit of like a hero battle cry as we send out some love and welcome everybody who's tuned in tonight. So go ahead and say hello and welcome everybody. Let's make some noise, send some love. Whoa, heroes unite! For the Shire. So beautiful. All right, beautiful. Thank you again, everyone, so much for joining in, and we'll get right into this. We'll just go over a bit of some basic introductions, and if the video and the audio are a little bit janky today, I don't know why it's happening, but nonetheless, we'll get that resolved as we go. And again, if you're looking to be able to connect with all the links that you need, be sure to check out the info on YouTube. You can find our team Discord channel. You can find the Patreon where you can join on air as where you can become a leading member to join on air for a weekly team podcast and get further support within our community of conscious media creators. You can also find us on Spotify at Paradigm Shift Radio. You can find the item shop, and of course you can also find the links for all of the leading members that you're going to see on air for tonight's discussion. So again, the hero's journey, the monomyth, something that Joseph Campbell has talked many times about, something that is kind of like wove and weaved throughout history, throughout many myths, throughout many stories in modern day, and as well as within ourselves. And this is the story of personal transformation. And if you're not entirely familiar with it, we'll tell you a little bit more about it. You've seen it in many different forms. You've seen it in many different movies, from Star Wars to Lord of the Rings to The Matrix. So we'll get into what this story is, what it means to us, and to just be able to practice talking, practice sharing our perspectives on it. And that's exactly what these broadcasts are about. This is a synergy circle. This is a sacred space for us to be able to practice speaking from our heart and serving as mirrors for us to be able to help support each other on our hero's journey as we continue to level up and help assist and accelerate the shift in consciousness. So we'll get into all of that in the next moment, but let's just start off just with some quick little meditation. And for those of you on YouTube, just go ahead and drop those 1111s in the chat. And just before I get into the meditation, I'm just going to do a quick little introduction to all the amazing people that we have on air with us tonight. So please join me in welcoming our fellow leading members. So again, my name is Brendon, Mystic Spider-Man, Skull Babylon. Most of you guys already know me. And of course, from my top to left to right, we also have Lizzy. So let's give a nice warm welcome to Lizzy. Thank you, Lizzy, for joining back in once again. And we've got Kristen joining us as per usual. Thank you, Kristen, so much for being here. And we've got Jessica, who's off camera at the moment. And we've also got Kai. Thank you so much, Kai, for being here as always. And we've got Flashback once again. Flash featuring Totoro. Is Totoro nearby? Is it? Featuring Totoro. Totoro is there. He's here for the party as well. And also Sonya. Sonya, welcome back once again. Thank you, Sonya, for being here. And we've got Ren. Thank you so much, Ren, for being here. I assume, Ren, is there like a keyblade? Do you have there's no keyblade nearby or anything like that? It's in the other room. Yeah. Thank you, Ren, for being here. Allis, we've got Allis back once again. Thank you, Allis, for joining us. We've got Joshua back once again as well. And thank you, Joshua, for being here. Beautiful. So many amazing people, so many amazing heroes that we have here on tonight's epic podcast. So like I said, let's get ready to go into a little bit of meditation, then we'll get right into discussion. And yeah, we'll keep things pretty concise, and maybe tonight's broadcast will be just a quick 2-hour one. And again, this is all just practice. This is fun, and thank you again, everyone, for being a part of this sacred container. So let's just do a little bit of a meditation. And everybody here on YouTube, please feel free to leave your comments, screenshot this at any point, share it to your IG stories, tag me at Mystic Spider-Man, tell some friends, invite people to tune in, and thank you for being a part of the conversation as well. So let's just take a moment here to get into a little bit of a meditation. And we do this in each of our podcasts just to be able to drop into our heart-mind coherence and just be able to align with that intention. So I just invite everybody here to just gently close their eyes. Just allow yourself to connect with this breath. Just give yourself the gift of this connection to your breath in this moment. So whatever Whatever is happening prior to today, just allow yourself to really just arrive here in this moment, to really just be present and just let your breath guide you. And as you drop into this space, just giving yourself permission to relax and just bringing your awareness to your heart space and just being in this space of gratitude. Gratitude for yourself for showing up, gratitude for the wisdom that we are here to share, and gratitude for this beautiful community supporting one another as we grow. And take this opportunity to just visualize us sitting in a circle right now, seeing all these beautiful faces, including Derek. Shout out to Derek. I forgot to mention he was off camera, but Derek's here as well. Derek's in here. Derek's in the circle. No problem. Derek's just said something in my ear. You guys didn't hear, but Derek's here. So everybody who's here that we've seen on air, plus all the people who are tuned in beyond this present moment as well, all the people in the YouTube as well. And just allow yourself to see their faces, see their hearts, to see their soul, and to see them as a mirror of yourself. To see the hero that they are on their journey, and to just be able to hold space within your heart for the collective journey that we are all sharing together. And so just breathe here, just in this moment of oneness. I'll just stop talking. Just allow yourself to be in this love, just to be in this resonance. So just take a moment here. And as you're breathing here, allowing yourself to see and allowing yourself to be seen. Just allow yourself to express any gratitude for all the people here. A small phrase, a sentence or two. Something that may be in theme with tonight's topic of the hero's journey. What do you want to say to everybody here? Go ahead and speak that from your heart now. Just allow yourself to receive that gratitude as well, and that inspiration. And so we'll carry this vibration and this intention with us throughout this discussion, keeping this image within our heart. And as you gently allow your breath to just move you through this discussion, slowly we will bring our awareness back to our physical body as we gently open our eyes. Wiggle our fingers, wiggle our toes, and gently open our eyes. And return your awareness to the space around you. Beautiful. And for those of you who are live in the YouTube chat, please feel free to leave any comments, maybe something that came through for you in that little meditation, the message that you had for the group. Please, by all means, go ahead and drop that into the chat there as well. And yeah, the message I had, it was just like, really just being like, it's like you're a hero even if you don't even know it. And I think that's kind of the idea, is that like there's the seed of the hero, the seed of the superhero, the light guardian, the Jedi. It's in all of us, and here together we're here to water that. So it's like I see the hero in you even if you don't see it within yourself just yet. And that's the power of community, right? So beautiful. All right, let's get ready to move right into this. All right. For those of you on TikTok, go ahead and click the link in my profile to join in on YouTube. That's where you can tune in with the rest of the team. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone, again, for being here. So let's get right into tonight's topic. So here we are, spiritual wisdom of the hero's journey. So this is a really exciting topic for us to be able to dive into. What is the hero's journey? The hero's journey is kind of a term that was coined by Joseph Campbell, though the concept of it is something that has existed throughout the ages. And it's basically this idea of kind of like an archetypal pattern that many heroes go through, the heroes of ancient myths, of ancient mythology, and a story that is something that we ourselves are going through. It is the story of embarking into our potential. It is a story of transformation. It is a story of revelation and realization. And it is a story of being able to go outside of our comfort zones and to be able to answer the call to help us become more of who we can be, more of what is our destiny, so to speak. And so we've seen the hero's journey in many different forms, even in the past, the media that we've had over the past several generations. And some of the most common forms of the hero's journey that we can recognize within pop culture would be things like Star Wars, things like Luke Skywalker, who you have this small farm boy who's in this, what is considered to be in the archetype of the hero's journey, and we'll go through this in a second, the ordinary world. And then he gets this call to action and he meets this mentor role in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he invites him into this new world where there's these new abilities, and yet inside of this new world, or the special world as it's called within the stages of the hero's journey and the archetype, again kind of explained by Joseph Campbell, who wrote a book about this, Hero of a Thousand Faces, is again like this challenge that arises. And again, the challenge is not just one that's an external challenge. It's the challenge of being able to confront our own inner shadow, to be able to go through our own ego death as well. And then I'm not getting into all the details, and then there's like more of this ongoing call to like this like stepping into your potential, meeting these like confrontations, and allowing yourself to really bring everything that you've learned into a single moment where there's like a risk. It's like, oh, you have to show up. It's like, or else like something might be lost. So it's like, oh, you're doing this, but you're doing this for a bigger reason than yourself. And then within the hero's journey, there is also the important aspect of the return, and the hero, having gone through their transformation, brings something back with them, back to the ordinary world, so that they can help others on their hero's journey as well. And the concept of the hero's journey is basically this thing that kind of works it works in revolutions. So we as individuals, we go through the hero's journey many times throughout our life, and so it's something that doesn't just happen once. We see it all the time. So this is something that I'm super excited to be able to talk about for tonight's podcast. Again, just opening up people here, just creating space here within the group for people to be able to practice talking about their familiarity with the hero's journey, and again, even inviting each of us, as the part of the intention here within this discussion is to help us become more aware of identifying the stages of the hero's journey within our own life, where you can kind of see and be like, oh, like that's where the call to action was for me, or oh, that's where I met my mentor, or oh, that's where I crossed the threshold and stuff like that. So it really just allows us to kind of like create this kind of this paradigm that we can see our world through, that can create a context that can allow us to be able to find empowerment within our story of becoming the hero that we are here to be. And this was a big thing that Joseph Campbell really talked about, is that this is something that's like primordial. It's something cosmic. It's something that's like encoded into who we are. So I'm just going to go through the quick steps of the hero's journey. Sometimes they're explained a little bit differently, but there's about 12 steps usually, and I'm just going to kind of hit upon them real quick, and then we're just going to pass the talk and stick around. So these are the steps. Step 1, the ordinary world. So the ordinary world is kind of where we begin. It's being in the status quo, but usually within the archetype of the hero, it's this feeling of something more. So again, this is where you see it in Star Wars. You can think of it even within Harry Potter, within the Matrix, where you have Harry and he's kind of like, oh, I'm in this world, but I don't really feel like I belong here. Like there must be something more, right? And then again, next after that, the second step is the call to action. So the second step of the call to action is this idea of like destiny summoning you, a quest, something that will change everything that you once thought you knew. The call to action can be a very paradigm shifting experience, and it prompts us into this place where it's like, will you answer the call? Will you accept the call? Now it's interesting because the call to action, when you look at this on a societal level, and this is without judgment, a lot of people within their own hero's journey, they actually don't get past this. They actually don't get past the call to action. A lot of people will continue to just kind of exist in the ordinary world because there's certainty there, there's comfort there, there's familiarity there. They're not, for whatever personal reason, based on just like their own free will, they don't really they might be like, oh, I really want to do this, but then for whatever reason, they just stay in the ordinary world. They just don't really cope past that, because it is challenging, because it really asks us to really kind of like go outside of that space that we're used to. And then again, number 3, and I'm just gonna go through this real quick, and we'll go through these in detail again a little bit later, is refusal to the call. So refusal to the call, this is again where the hero, sometimes the like Gandalf or someone will be like, you have to take the ring to Mordor, and be like, but why me? Like, why should it be me? Like, I don't want to do this. So there's like this reluctant hero archetype, but then it's kind of like this idea that the hero understands that this is bigger than them. This is something that is for them, but it's also bigger than them. And so the refusal to the call is also about being able to face the unconsciousness. So again, this is the whole hero's journey is very much a journey of shadow work as well. And then from there, step 4 is meeting with the mentor. So this is where within the archetypes of the movies that we're used to, you get characters like Obi-Wan, you get characters like Hagrid, like Gandalf, like Morpheus, who again are someone who have gone through their hero's journey, and now they are beckoning the next hero to be able to help support them and to be able to help bring them into the crossing of the threshold, which is the next part. So the crossing of the threshold, this is the point of no return. This is a point where they kind of enter into a new world. This is often where they go from moving from what is referred to as the ordinary world into the special world. So the special world can be like this new world of magic, this new world of things that you never knew were possible. And so within the Matrix, this would be, for example, when Neo takes the red pill. He takes the red pill and there's no turning back at that point. He has seen something that he can't unsee as well. So the crossing of the threshold is the point of no return, the paradigm shift. And this is a journey of self-discovery as well. So from there, number 6, test allies and enemies. So you're in this new world, but within this new world, you realize that not everything's going to be easy. There will be challenges, and you will find people that you will be able to learn from, people who are on their own hero's journey who may be more familiar with this special world. But then at the same time, you will find people that will test you and that will challenge you and that will confront you. So you're learning the rules of the new world. This is about facing challenges and it's also training you for ordeals still ahead. So every great challenge prepares us for the next one. So again, even as we're talking about this, you can start to kind of see like how this actually applies to the spiritual journey, to the journey of just like conscious awakening, where you kind of go through these stages where it's just like, it's like, oh, everything's just, like regular mainstream culture, and then you're like, wait a second, there's a bigger world out there. I'm following the rabbit hole, I'm following the white rabbit, things are leading me somewhere, and I realize there's like this much bigger story and things like that. And then you start to find other people that are on this shared journey, and you might find other people that are going to kind of like confront you and stuff like that within this new world. So again, this is kind of like something that is very, very important to be able to prepare you for what's next. Again, I'm just gonna go through these real quick. Number 7, approaching to the inner cave. So the inner cave, this is about us being able to the inner cave can be an external thing, but it can also be an internal thing. So this is about being able to face our fears. This is where we confront something that isn't easy, and we really we are brought into a space where we are challenged and basically ask, like, what we ask ourselves, like, what should I do? What should I do in this situation? I'm confronted with something that seems like, like way bigger than what I once thought I could be capable of confronting, but what will I do? So this is about a tough decision. So this is where, again, like in some stories, this is like facing a dragon in a cave, or like facing some sort of like enemy or something like that. And then from there, it kind of moves into the ordeal. So the ordeal, as you go into the cave, this is the deep crisis. This is where oftentimes what we will see within the hero's journey, this is where the hero kind of gets, they actually like get knocked on their butt. They'll get pushed down. They kind of like hit like even like rock bottom, so to speak. But then within this place of rock bottom, they're actually given the opportunity to be able to cultivate their strength and to be able to take what they've learned from the tests and ordeals, and to be able to bring it into action so that they can, and through this process, there's actually like a literal and a metaphorical rebirth. So within the ordeal, oftentimes we can kind of, it feels like we're getting our butt kicked, but what's actually happening is there's actually like an ego death. So like a part of us has to die in order for us to be reborn. So this is a very, very important part within the hero's journey. And we see this again, you know, we see this within different stories. You know, like Harry gets his butt kicked. Luke Skywalker, he kind of gets his butt kicked when he's like dealing with certain things. Neo literally gets his butt kicked, like he dies, but then he kind of like comes back and stuff like that. So we see this a lot of times, and I'm sure all of us have probably been through those experiences where we've gotten our butt kicked, but then it was like, whoa, like this was actually really important for my journey, and it humbled me and it allowed me to see things differently, and I came out of it a different person once I kind of continued to move through with it. And then number 9, the reward. The reward could be a physical object, but the reward can also be something such as love and knowledge. So this is the achievement of inner transformation. This could be the settling of a conflict as well. So the reward can be something where, you know, like it could be like kind of like healing your own inner wounds, healing a trauma, resolving a past relationship, confronting someone who might have been in conflict with you and being able to like resolve it in a way which brings about peace, or at the very least just kind of like allows you to kind of like move into a new place where you're beyond that conflict as well. So this is about being able to help live in a happier and a rewarding life. And so you've claimed something that is of value here. And then the next part, and we're almost done here, is the return back. So now that you've claimed something, what you want to do as the hero, you bring it back from the special world into the ordinary world. So you've gone on this journey and now you bring it back to the ordinary world so that you can share it, so that you can teach other people as well. So this is about, again, kind of like a resolution period. And within us personally, this can, again, continue to be a process of healing bad habits, neurosis, addictions, past dark past, and things like that. So this is about taking what we've learned, integrating it, and allowing the healing process to take place both within ourselves and something that we can bring back to the community. And then from here you have the resurrection. And so this is where even on the return home, the hero will face darkness one more time. So this is where, you know, it's like, oh, you thought that was the final boss fight, and then there's like one more boss fight. It's kind of like in like Zelda, where it's like, I did it, I beat Ganon, and then like another version of Ganon appears and you're just like, oh no, like I thought I was done the game, but I'm not done the game. There's one more thing here. And so this is, again, another level of ego death. And this is where we really bring in all the lessons that we've learned, and allows us to really transcend, and allows us to really tap into like the fire in our belly, where it's just like you feel your strength and you feel your power. This is like when Goku goes Super Saiyan and things like that, when they're just like reaching that like climax in the movie where you think there's no hope, and then the hero's like, no, like I can do this. And they kind of like face that last challenge, and realize, and this is a key thing, realizing you have had the power within you all along. Like that's such an important part of the hero's journey. And then from here, the last one is returning with the elixir. And so again, this is about being able to, again, kind of like the return, or I think I kind of like skipped through a couple. I think I kind of like mixed over a couple things. The return back like isn't the return back. What I mentioned about the return back, where you're like bringing something back to the ordinary world. I actually got ahead of myself. So it's like you're returning back, but you're not all the way back. And then the return with the elixir is when you kind of return back to the ordinary world with that gift that you have claimed, with that well, again, the elixir, it's something of value. Again, if the hero does not bring something back from their quest, then they are doomed to repeat it. So that's where, again, within our hero's journey, it's important for us to be able to reflect. If we go through conflict, what did we get out of it? What did we bring back with us? Because if we go through an entire conflict and then we're just like, wow, like, okay, that's done, that's over. But if you didn't consciously grow, you're probably going to repeat it. And we see this in time and time again in our lives. We'll go through repeating cycles. We'll go through the same relationship again, be it with partners or friends or work people or something like that. Because again, the journey is here to be able to give you the gift of that elixir, to be able to help kind of like distill and just kind of, it's an alchemical process where you kind of have to go through this crucible, this fire, but yet out of this, again, it transforms lead into gold. So the hero's journey is the alchemical process as well. So again, the return with the elixir is about returning the lessons that you have gained from your adventure to bring back with you into the ordinary world. So again, the hero's journey is a cyclical journey, and it is one where we are continuously facing challenges and resistance, i.e. our shadow, our personal shadow. And it's not easy, but it's the only way to create true and meaningful, lasting change. So the hero's journey is walking the path of self-discovery. That is what the hero's journey is about. So that's kind of the summary of the hero's journey. That's my TED talk for today. So was that pretty good? Like, did I summarize it there pretty good? I had notes and everything written out, so I think I did a pretty good job of that. Thank you again, everyone, for just allowing me to practice there. So from here, let's just kind of get into passing the talking stick around. I'd love for you guys to just kind of talk about like your insights on the hero's journey, how you've seen it appear within your life, examples that you want to talk about, even within stories and movies and pop culture. I know I mentioned some of the others like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Matrix and Harry Potter. Another one that I'll just mention because I know we were probably going to talk about would be like the Studio Ghibli films, like Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away and you know, all Howl's Moving Castle and Nausicaa and like all of these. Like you can see the hero's journey kind of within all of these. So again, let's just have fun talking about this and practice learning and through this discussion helping us kind of see and celebrate the hero's journey that we are all on together as we continue to learn and grow. So who wants to go next? And Kai, I can pass it over to you if you prefer, because I know you're going to be heading out sooner rather than later. So first dibs to Kai, and then anybody else as well. Just go ahead and raise your hands. Kai, you let me know. I know you're when you're ready. Anybody else who wants to jump in before Kai, just go ahead and just raise your hand, and we can pass it over to you next as well. So Jessica's got their hand up. And okay, so we'll pass it over to Jessica then, and then whoever wants to go after that, we'll pass it over to you. And welcome. Also, David is just connected in as well. Welcome to David. David, thank you for joining as well. So okay, so let's give a nice warm welcome to Flash. So Flash, go ahead and pass it over to you, and tell us a little bit about the spiritual wisdom of the hero's journey from your perspective. Welcome, Flash.
Hey, Brendon. Thanks for having me on. Hey, David. Hey, everybody. Oh, man. I feel like so much resonance with this topic tonight. And I've had like such a day with this. Like all of this knowledge has been coming to me. And um, I wasn't expecting to speak first, but I think like one of the things that really came up with me today is how, you know, you look at the spirit, the wisdom of the hero's journey, and it can be like this lifelong arc, but then kind of looking at it in the moment to moment. For me, like I realized like what happens at the macro happens at the micro. So like it could be almost at like this cellular level, like what's going on within my body today, like how's my digestion working, like okay, it's going through its own cycle of like understanding and having to like call to action. Like, you know, some days I don't feel like going on this whole journey and taking up that call to action, but maybe I can do it at more of that micro level. And then through that, like that process has been kind of building for me. And now I'm definitely entering, like I'm going into this other unknown world that I'm feeling excited about and starting to resonate with. And I'm meeting so many mentors now that hopefully are helping me find like my next step and like trying to step into that power of where I'm at. And yeah, it's a deep one. I'd have to think on it more, but that's just kind of where my thoughts are starting off at. Thanks, Brendan. Yeah, I'll pass it over to Kai if he wants to talk too.
Second,
Thanks for that,
there we go.
Flash. I
Perfect.
resonate so much with you said
Yes.
how
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry, guys. My thing glitched out there for a second. Pass it over to Kai. Thank you, Jessica. Go right ahead, Kai.
yeah. I love how you brought it to the micro level too. Because yeah, sometimes we think of the hero's journey has to be really big and epic and Star Wars like I gotta get my lightsaber and I gotta go face the dragons, but sometimes it could be just at the day level. Like I made it through today. It was a little ordeal that I faced. And it's just adding on to the next, you know, when the dragon does show up. Yeah, Brendan, thank you for taking the time to like go through the 12 steps. I'm relatively new. Like I never read Joseph Campbell's work, but the hero's journey, like that has always been in my background. Well, always, and maybe the last 3 years. Um, and I've been really exploring it at a like a personal psychological level, like how Brendan touched upon. Going from the known world is like kind of going from like your conscious, this, you know, the programming that you were raised in, and then kind of going into the unconscious or the special world or the unknown world. That's like when we first maybe start the spiritual journey and we start going into like unconsciousness and dreams. Um, and when he kind of gets to the point of entering the cave, it's like if you do the shadow work, it's really getting into your shadows, getting into those dark parts of you. And then when you confront the dragon, like I guess at a personal reflection level, a psychological level, or shadow work level, that's like you coming face to face with like maybe the thing that you've been the most ashamed of about yourself, or the most, almost like the most messed up part of you that you might not have really fully admitted or claimed. And that's you kind of confronting that dragon. And I think like symbolically slaying the dragon, it might not necessarily mean like, you know, killing it and it just disappears, but it's almost like maybe like taking your power back from it, and it's like slaying it in the sense that it's no longer this dark shadowy fear, and you like ate your shadow, you literally like consumed it, integrated it, and then from that you can journey back to the normal world, um from the unconscious. So like you kind of go back to the normal world. And what I think about, I think it's just this Buddhist quote. Oh, I'm gonna butcher it so bad. Something along the lines of like, they were, these were once like mountains and rivers, and then they weren't mountains and rivers anymore. And then something along the lines of like, now there's still mountain and rivers, but I see them kind of differently. So they're kind of still mountain and rivers, but not quite mountain and rivers anymore. Yeah, yeah, that's what I wanted to share about, what I, some of the thoughts that came up.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Kai. Yeah, and again, you know, just us talking about it, like again, it really just helps us. Like I said, it helps us kind of like see the practicality of being able to observe the archetypal steps of the story within our own life, and it's just like, oh, okay, like, and again, it's just be like, oh, like I've already experienced that. Like, oh, I've met mentors. Oh, I've answered call to action. Oh, I've gone into the cave. Oh, I've had, you know, allies and challenges and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really really fascinating. So cool. Okay, Kai, thank you again. And who wants to be able to go next? And oh, David's in here as well. Thank you, David. Okay, sorry, I was like, it didn't put me 2 seconds together. I thought David was another David there for a second. So David, welcome there as well. So anybody else who wants to jump in next, just go ahead and let us know. And Derek, I know you're on without video, but you can let us know as well. So just hands up whoever wants to be able to go in next. And David, we did just go over the 12 steps. That's what we did just before you jumped in there as well. So whoever wants to be able to go in, just go ahead and raise your hand if you guys want to jump
Yay.
next.
I'll raise my voice
Lizzy,
and
yeah.
my
Okay,
cool.
go right ahead, Lizzy.
Number
Thank you.
3. Awesome. I love that Flash and Kai both brought up about like the, I'll say, the size of the hero's journey. Like we think of a hero's journey and of course our minds go to like the big ones, like, you know, Star Wars, and but um I've always had a difficult time thinking about like everything, like the spiritual premise of like everything happening at the same time. But as you were just talking about the 12 steps, it kind of was like an aha moment, because this hero's journey, um I guess I'll speak in from my obviously I'm speaking from my perspective, but like the going within and going without, like I can look at it from going inside myself and going and then looking outside of myself. I think actually that was like one of the first big things that I like learned about, that really piqued my interest, that really like helped start my hero's journey for me. Like the fact that I'm here like on this call, like sharing myself and like my truth is like evidence for me that that I'm on the hero's journey. Um and yeah, I think that um I loved what you said, that we can go through it over over and over, and I think ideally in our lives we do, because as we're learning and integrating new things into like our consciousness, there's um you know, we naturally like want to take up more space and share that part of ourselves with others, and it kind of creates this beautiful like symphony, I guess. But So personally, I help people with like emotional clarity, and I'm a gut health ambassador as well. And so a lot of what led me here has been like those uh, just intimate moments with myself, and um, they've started as like synchronicities. So literally just asking like my guides to like show me things, and like repeating numbers or like my birth number. Um, so those for me were the little things that really set it off. And then it kind of led to me learning about my emotions and then learning about relationships. So, um, being in Western society, essentially, um, I feel like I really just, and I feel like I didn't learn those things that were so important to like what I want to do and like the thing, who I want to become. So since I've actually been out of school, I've just been following like synchronicities and the way that I feel about things, and um, using my relationships really to just tell me about like who I am and like where I'm going. Um, yeah, I actually definitely would like to share that I wrote my book From Shy to Magnetic about a lot of these things as well. And yeah, that's like my biggest, I guess, hero's journey that I'm proud of all of them. But um yeah, and a lot of people don't really want to talk about shyness because it's just, I guess, sometimes seen as like a personality trait. But I think that bearing your soul and connecting with other people like all authentically can definitely be really scary, and it can feel easier not to do that and to just stay like in your shell and stay hidden. And yeah, so whenever whenever I feel discouraged, I definitely like to just remind myself of like what the journey's been. And I just, yeah, I definitely keep the hero's journey close to my heart. So thanks.
Thank you as well, Lizzy. Beautiful. All right, we'll keep passing the talking stick around. Whoever wants to go next.
Please.
Kristen, you want to go next? Joshua wants to go next. A few people wants to go next. So if you guys can even just kind of like figure out real quick. One thing I was just gonna mention. Yeah, again, like as we're talking about this, like what does it mean to be a hero, right? Like we're using this word, and one of the consistent words that comes up within this definition is the idea of courage. And so part of the reason why I wanted to have this discussion tonight, again, to be able to serve as a mirror, is to be able to help us see the courage that each of us hold, the courage that is innately already inside of us. And I think sometimes within our journey, it might be hard for us to kind of like even acknowledge that within ourselves. I feel like sometimes it's just kind of like, oh, like I'm not allowed to think of myself as being courageous. I'm not allowed to think of myself as being a hero in my own right. But what happens if we start celebrating that, where it's like, no, like it's like being courageous is actually such a beautiful part of who you are. And every single one of us, simply by being here for however many years that you've been on this earth, you have exhibited versions of courage in the many different ways that you have worked through your trials and your tribulations. Like if you've been existing for X number of years, you have faced shadow, you have gone through things, you have faced tribulations and all sorts of different spectrums within your hero's journey. So I think, again, like for us just having this conversation, this is a celebration of the courage that each of us holds. And knowing this is actually a very important thing within the hero's journey, is knowing that each hero's journey is relative to the hero, meaning that you don't need to compare your journey to someone else's. There are common themes and elements and stages and stuff like that, but your journey, like this is kind of the thing, it's almost like it's being designed from top down. Like the universe, this is one thing I wanted to mention real quick. It's like the universe is specifically designing your hero's journey for the purpose to awaken your consciousness. Like that is the purpose of the hero's journey, to awaken the consciousness that is inside you, to be able to help, again, kind of what I use that metaphor of like the seed of the hero is inside of you. So it grows the seed over time. And then when you do this, you help others do the same simply by living by example and being the mentor for other people and the ally to other people as well. When it's a part of that, when it's your part in the story for you, when it's your, like sometimes your hero's journey is to be able to play the role of assisting somebody else in their hero's journey as well, right? And the one thing I was just going to mention is, you know, it's beautiful within the journey of seeing things this way to be able to see, like, again, kind of this top-down perspective of like the synchronicities and the way things kind of unfold. And again, you know, Joshua and I know Peter, if Peter joins in a little bit later, they do a beautiful job of eloquently just kind of explaining the idea that, you know, we literally are this like real world incarnated version of this like mythical energy, this mythical lore, this mythical fantastic way of being able to think of the world in this present form. Like we are the gods and goddesses. We are like these again, kind of like the kings and queens of Avalon, you know, these like mystical creatures that are playing this role in this human form. And we've kind of had this amnesia, and now we're kind of awakening to this process. And the hero's journey, as we see it and the reason why we see it in movies and in comic books and stuff like that is because, again, you know, the comic books and the movies, they literally are the modern day silver screen, the modern day mirror. They are a tool for us to be able to see ourselves. The reason why we resonate with superheroes and things like that, kings and queens, as Kai shows, the reason why we resonate with superheroes and everything is because we see ourselves in them. We see them as a reflection of the archetypes in them. And this is what you think of when you think of like all the different the myths of you know, like Hindu philosophy and Greek you know, like Greek gods and goddesses and stuff. All of those were actually just reflections of archetypes that were inside of us, you know. So that's why when we see these movies, we get so jazzed up about it, because we're just like, oh my goodness, like this is actually awakening something inside of me. It gets my soul excited. So how can we kind of like begin to see that within our everyday life? And again, just opening our heart and our mind to this journey, trusting the process, and being able to kind of like see the challenges as a step within the bigger journey, and a call to action, and something that's kind of like bringing us into more of a power, and then kind of seeing the synchronicities as they kind of like lead us along the way. So again, it's kind of like you become Link within the Legend of Zelda. You become the hero within your journey. You are that. And once you become aware of that, I think the journey actually kind of reflects it back to you. So it's like, oh, now that you're awake, now we can really start to kind of like bring you those next steps and those next stages. So let's keep things passing along here. Who am I passing it to next? I know Kristen and Joshua. Okay, let's pass over to Joshua. Good segue there. So Joshua, go ahead. You can speak on what the hero's journey means to you, and feel free to just kind of like segue off anything I was already riffing on there. Welcome, Joshua. Go right ahead.
Thank you so much, brother. I'm so glad and blessed to be here with you guys. You know, it was such a perfect flow in which I witness, you know, much like Kristen's background, that we are all extensions of the tree of life, that we are all a part of the interwoven pattern of synchronicity that is the great story of our shared awakening. You know, it's like we are the superheroes. All of the myths and all of the legends are all embodiments of a particular quality in consciousness. You know, that's why those things are popular. You know, it's like things are popular because they're a wave in the ocean. There's like, or it's a movement. Things are going on, things are happening for each and every one of us because we're all sharing in the pattern. And that's what for me, that's what I mean. Like when people talk about synchronicity, the way that I experience synchronicity is that it's an interwoven pattern of the divine mind of the universe moving through the mycelial threads of Gaia through each and every one of us. We are all made of the earth. We are all these vessels for consciousness to have this dope journey. And that to me is the heroic journey. That's the journey of us gradually realizing, like, well, what do you mean you're a divine being or you're a starseed? To me, like, everyone is that thing. Your very definition of self changes when you wake up to that. you know, and it's like that. There's a dopeness to that. You can feel the expansion in the heart space around that. It's like the very definition of yourself is your magical story. So like our whole jam with the Mythica, Into the Mythica, is that, like, that's the story, the myth of our awakening. It's like when you realize that you're like a spiritual being having this experience, and that we're all moving through our own heroic journey of like, oh, you know, I noticed that this totem appeared on my path, or like I had this divination and it related to my ancestors, or well, I saw the hawk in the sky and it meant clear vision for me, or like, you know, oh, well, I met this person and they reminded me of a quality of compassion, or they reminded me of a quality of love. And like, well, why does that, how does that occur? And for us, what we've really been on about is that there's the heroic journey, and then there's the heroic landscape. And the heroic landscape is when you shift into an octave of which you're witnessing, like, the things are coming to you from the land, like the signs are appearing in your field. You're realizing that other people are literally the embodiments of a certain quality. Like they're literally like a character in your story, and you're a character in your story. Like you're the hero of your own story. And I love how Brendon led into this, because I've actually, speaking of that journey, inside of my own journey, I've documented the synchronicities along my own heroic journey to show a woven pattern expressed through where I was led along the path, and like what appeared for me inside of the context of being a witness to the collective awakening. And what I recognized along that journey was like, oh, there is a seed within each of us. So I called the story The Seed Within. And that seed is your dharma. Like that seed is your life purpose. And every single one of us is a seed of the new earth. Every single one of us is a seed of the divine, a star seed of pure consciousness that is dropped into the earth, that is incarnated into form, and then gradually goes through the process of awakening, of self-realization, of like, oh, well, what is my purpose, and like, why am I here, and like, you know. But one thing that I go really deeply into is there's a structure to that. There's a structure to your seed within. There is a structure to your purpose. There's a structure to your true self, to your most authentic expression, to the way that the wind of the universe wants to sing through the instrument of you. And when you learn the song of your soul, when you learn the trueness of you, that's when you understand that you know that you're in alignment. You know that you're like, oh, I'm in the right place. It's like happening. I'm feeling the flow. There's an aliveness. I'm like, I know that this is moving through. And like, well, oh, why does that keep happening? And the, oh, why does that keep happening, gradually turns into the understanding of synchronicity, which is actually super dope, because when we look from the big picture perspective, we see that every single one of us is a part of the interwoven pattern of the hero's journey. That there is a great story of humanity's awakening that every single one of us is a part of. Every single one of us is like a plant within a larger garden. Just like every plant serves a unique function in the garden. And they all communicate through the interwoven mycelia and the roots and the patterns, and the bees come in and they're buzzing and connecting the plants. Every plant has a purpose. Every single one of us has a purpose. But when we see that there is no separation, that we are all one, we understand that our hero's journey is just the individual's journey of the descent to self, the journey to the center of who you are. It is the journey of the self, of the universal consciousness who is realizing oneself through us, through each and every one of us. And we're gradually like, it's like the seed is pushing up through the soil, and then we're learning like, oh my God, there's like a function to my plant in the Garden of Gaia. Like there's a purpose, there's a reason why I'm here, and it's connected to other people's reason why they're here. And that for me is when we move into the redemption of value. You know, that for me is when we realize that we and the land are one. That the way that we regard other people along our hero's journey is literally how we're regarding that version, that aspect, that expression of the self. that archetypical expression of our own subconscious. So like what I've gotten super deep into along my journey is like recognizing like I left the Matrix in like 2014, put my backpack on and went to the mountains and had a vision from the divine that I was meant to go on a journey to the eco villages and travel all over the world and like literally live off grid. And I went and I studied magic. I literally lived in a like mystery school. I lived off grid. I like hitchhiked all over the United States, and I went to transformational festivals. I went and I lived on permaculture farms. I went and I would live in long periods of time and retreat in nature alone. And, you know, one of the places I was led to was this place, Cresta. And before I left Indiana in 2014, or in 2015, actually, when I had come back to Indiana, I was about to go back on the journey. I had a dream to follow the synchronicities unceasingly to a new reality. And somebody actually like, I was like sleeping and I had this dream. And at the time I was like working at a cafe and I was just like looking at like the wastefulness of the culture, and just like I was having these mystical experiences. I was waking up to the fact that like we are one. And I was just like, you know, what are we doing here? Like what is my purpose in life? And I had always since a child had a dream of like sharing my voice to help others, like inspire others and help others like, you know, get back to their own truth. And what was so interesting about this is when I had this dream this night, I woke up in the morning and I knew immediately what I had to do. And I like quit my job and I packed my stuff, I sold all my things, and I traveled out west. And I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna live like a super simple yogi's lifestyle. And I basically like got introduced to all of these different vortexes and sacred lands, and I ended up traveling to live in this off-grid village and in Crestone, Colorado, which is a place of like 35 ashrams, where I was living like off-grid, and I was like doing Lakota sweat lodges, I was doing peyote ceremonies, I was like, literally I was out in the middle of the desert, like outside of civilization, meditating every day, and I was learning Ayurveda, I was studying shamanic breath work and working with the 5 elements. So the ritual of magic that I come from works with the 5 elements of earth, air, water, fire, and space. Space, also known as ether or akasha. And this is the understanding that we are made of the elements. So I actually practiced and learned like a form of like embodied shamanism and yoga that works with that. And so it was really interesting is that I found my dream journal where I had written down the dream. And this was right after I'd come back from this gathering called the Imaginarium, which was like this whole dream that was about like expressing our dreams and our subconscious of our stories and our journeys, like through art and dance and expression and eye gazing. It was like this whole like cacao journey that we had taken. And I came back and I found this dream journal, the dream that I had written before I left Indiana. And at the end of the dream, before I woke up, I was dropped off in a village in the middle of the desert that was like this off-grid village. And I'm literally reading this dream and I'm like, I'm in a village off-grid in the middle of the desert. And I had realized that I had traveled in the physical land to the place that I had written down in my dream from the year prior. And I was like, oh, why is that happening? Right around that same time, I had this whole download that I was meant to travel between the eco villages and the transformational festivals and like really become a speaker and like share my music. And I had been gifted this art book at the gathering, the Imaginarium gathering, and it was called A Revolution in Love. And it was all poetry about unity consciousness. And I flip it over and this art piece is on the back of it. And it's like has like an angel on it holding a painting palette, like, and the energy's coming through. And I'm like, right, that's what we're here to do. Like each and every one of us is a channel for the divine to express through the art of life. It is the art of living. Like it's to live your life as a work of art. The hero's journey is to realize the seed within you, to blossom and bloom that expression through the soil of the soul. And so I was like, yes, oh my God, that's so good. Like, that's so dope. And then the next day I went and I walked across like the desert side, and I ended up meeting the artist who made this painting. I never met her before. Oh yeah, it was like that. And I shared with her my dream of my hero's journey. And she's like, oh my God, you need to know about Into the Mythica. And she ends up taking me to like the Cloud Cafe, and I'm like sitting there at a round table with her, and we're talking about magic. And then Peter Fay comes up, and Peter Fay had like created this whole platform that's about using our heroic journeys and documenting the real life synchronicities to show how we are those expressions of Gaia. Right. And so I actually went and journeyed with him. He became like that. It was like that Luke Skywalker, like Yoda thing, where he became like a mentor for me, where I literally learned how to be like a mythical journalist and document what was going on in the Akasha, what was going on in my Akashic record, but like in this life. And it was actually super dope because I got to travel to like gatherings like Zen Awakening or Fairy Worlds. I got to go live up in Oregon or go to Maui and go to these new earth temples. All along those years of journey, I continued to recognize that, I'm just gonna wrap this up to open up the space. But I continued to recognize that my own journey of awakening and who I was led to witness as characters along my path, along that way, was literally the embodiment of my witnessing of the collective awakening, which then I've shown through the stories on intothemythica.com. And it's like, it's so cool because it's like, I recognize that I was literally getting to live a journey of magic. I was literally getting to like travel as like the Harry Potter universe, where I had left like the Matrix, and now I'm like Echo Village, like the transformational gatherings are happening. I'm meeting a mentor. This is going on. I'm learning magic. And so when people talk about like, oh, portals, what is a portal? Like what do you mean by that? No, there's an actual structure to that. I was looking at a moment from my timeline yesterday, which is where we've got like these photos that lay out like the progression of our hero's journey. And I was literally, this is in 2017, and I was literally led to a spot on the land in Crestone that had like there was like somebody, I had found like a card that had a 6-pointed star on it. And then I was led to this point on the land where they had made a giant magical circle with a 6-pointed star. Then I had gone across this creek that I had just discovered. I didn't even know existed, this spot where there was another 6-pointed star in the land. And I returned, and this woman was like, she was there. She was like this whole like oracle of dragons, like for real. She's on about like the dragon of the land and like bringing that through. And she was like, oh yeah, no, you found like Merlin's circle. And I was like, oh yeah. And she identified as like Morgaine. And I recognized that I was like amidst all of these other people where I was led to this land where they were doing ceremonies with the fairies, right? And they were all about like the 4 directions and the elements and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, why do I keep encountering these people who share that we're the kings and queens of Avalon, who like, they're like reborn versions of like the knights of old, right? And I like literally looked at that on the land. I'm like, oh my God, that's a portal, right? And then the coming days, I was led to this, I was helping a couple friends move, and I ended up meeting these guys with a group called Synergy. And they do this like global grid working, like they work with like the ley lines and like the super like energies of the land kind of vibe. And they had an actual like Excalibur sword in their house. And the moment that I saw the Excalibur sword, it was the actual embodiment of Excalibur for me on my path. And I recognized that it embodied the quality of clarity. I'm like, right, the Merlin circle. This is Morgaine, the Excalibur sword, the fairies, right? And then I was like, and after that point, everything in my consciousness clarified when I found Excalibur. You can see it on my timeline. All of my photos become like even more magical. I start being led to like more of these gatherings. I'm counting like Adam Apollo of the Guardian Alliance. I'm being led to like Zen Awakening Festival. I mean, led to like the realms of fairy, like actual, like amidst like other priestesses and bards of like the modern age. And there's not just one Excalibur. There's not just one Jesus. There's not just one avatar. There's not just one magical grail. There is a grail. There is an Excalibur. There is an embodied, enlightened version for every single one of us. And for me, those treatments in the movies and in the stories, those are literally the embodiment of the attainment along one's journey of the literal story of enlightenment that's playing itself out through the story of separation. Because separation exists, we experience differentiation. That's why I say, like, you know, we're all one, but there's distinction. Everyone is experiencing their own journey, their own heroic journey. And that's a beautiful thing. That's why you have all of these different cultures, all of these different stories, all of our different journeys, all of our unique selves, all the rainbow bridge of all of these different expressions of the hero's journey. And so along my own story, it's been a gradual thing of waking up to see that, you know, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm wrapping this up with this last statement, which is just, there is a magical journey for us all. There is a fulfillment of the dream of your inner child's heart's desire. When we align, when we do the shadow work, when we clear the distortions, when we come back to the sacred land, when we come back to the truth. We are the gods and goddesses. We are the heroes. Those stories are about us. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua, so much. It was beautiful, and so I felt like I was just like watching a movie there, just listening to you. So no, that was beautiful, dude. Thank you so much for sharing, and again for being an embodiment of exactly what it is that we're talking about. And now here you are, a steward of your story, to be able to help others see that story within themselves. And it's really cool. And I'll just take 2 seconds here, and we'll keep the talking stick going around that way. So we're just because I know there's a lot more people that we want to be able to get to, and there's a lot more to talk about. And again, you know, the stuff that we're talking about here, Joshua, like, it's really cool, like how, again, like us connecting, and Peter and him and I connecting, and the hero's journey has been something I've been consciously aware for quite some time. And even for myself, like having gone to like the lucidity festivals and making these movies, like those movies are, again, me kind of making a documented version of the hero's journey as well. And even here, like I'll just kind of like paint this picture real quick for everybody here that's like within the Paradigm Shift Central community. It's like, yeah, like this is us. Like, we're a bunch of like conscious media creators and stuff like that, but there's like layers to the mythos that's actually being woven, that the story that's actually unfolding. And just, I'm telling you this for those of you who are here to be able to see this story, to be able to help like write it together, to live it together, where this story of, again, you know, like the Paradigm Shift Central community, the intention that I've always kind of put into it, that's been evolving over the years, is literally like this modern day version of like the Knights of the Round Table. Like, it is like this modern day version of like the Merlin mythos and the Arthurian legends. And again, we've kind of recontextualized it, and that's where you hear me using terms like light guardians and, you know, like modern day Jedis and superheroes. It's kind of it's integrating multiple kind of like popular myths, and even creating our own myths as well. But, you know, this right here, this broadcast right here, is a continuation of the hero's journey, because every single person here, as you continue to go through your own process of awakening, as you continue to literally experience yourself awakening within the dream, you allow yourself to kind of like see where you sit at the table, and you allow yourself to arrive in this place where you really do, as Joshua was saying, arrive from like deepen yourself into your heart, so that you can kind of show up and be like, oh wow, like this is actually something that's like deeply resonant within my soul, and how refreshing it is to be able to find others who can also kind of like help hold the container for that magic. And then again, the question is, now that we are here and we are gathered, like literally the synergy circle, like this is the round table, like right here, just to be able to explicitly kind of give you that visualization. And again, and this is us cultivating magic. And then again, it's through there rippling it out further into the world around us. And that's just me doing something that's always kind of like felt, I'm like, oh no, it's a cool idea, but it's also something that's like deeply like speaking from my heart, where it's just kind of like, yes, this is what you are here to do. This is what you are here to do, to help bring others together that are also doing their own thing, so that we can continue to do it together, and so that they continue to create their roundtables. There will be many roundtables. There will be many kind of like, branches of this, again, the life tree that connects us all. So the one thing I was just going to say real quick, just to kind of plant this seed.
That real quick, I just wanted to say something.
Sure, real quick, Joshua. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
That was so beautiful, Brendon. This is the one thing I want to say, because I really want to open this space up there. It's like the very thing that inspires us about those stories, the virtue, the knightship, the stewardship of the round table, the honoring of the land, those codes of royalty. Those are aspects within our own self. The codes of the Jedi, the righteous regard, the service, those qualities. Like the very things that people are like, oh, I'm a unicorn, I'm a starseed, I'm a Pleiadian, I'm a this, I'm a that. Those are all beautiful things. But ultimately, we are also transcendent. We are pure consciousness, having this experience of getting to be whatever you define yourself to be. You're Jedi, you're a mystic, you're a bard, you're a priestess, you're a divinator, you're an oracle. It's like those very qualities that we admire in the stories. The reason why we admire them is because they help us remember who we really are.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's where, again, and thank you, Joshua, like the word inspire, like take a moment here to be able to look at that word inspire, like literally referring to like the spire within us. Like when we feel we are inspired, is literally like this like pillar of activation that is becoming, that is activating, that it's like this like flame of light that is kind of like turning on inside of us, that has always kind of been there. And that's the flame of heart, that is the flame of the truth, that is the flame of consciousness itself. So yeah, no, it's such a powerful thing to be able to be in this space where we're communing and we're celebrating and we're co-creating, and here we are together, we're weaving this story. So shout out to every single one of you, all the amazing, beautiful, magical beings that you are, that you bring to this circle. It's so powerful. So the one thing I was just going to say here real quick, and this doesn't necessarily need to be something we'll talk about right after this, but well, I'm still thinking about it. Again, literally thinking about the idea how we can see actually like the hero's journey archetype as something that we literally experience within our dream time. Like in like contained kind of like micro versions. Like you can actually kind of, for those of us who are practicing dream recall and getting deeper into our dream practice, keep aware of that, because there may be some dreams where you'll go through where you'll actually be able to interpret it through the lens of the hero's journey, and you'll be actually be able to kind of like see it where it's like, oh wow, like that dream had some challenges in it, like that dream like had some very interesting characters in it. And so again, where are those dreams leading you? Like what are they helping awaken within your own heart as well? So let's keep things moving along here. Thank you again, everyone, so much for being a part of this conversation. And just for context, Joshua is mentioning Into the Mythica. So again, intothemythica.com. You can find the project there, and also Into the Mythica on Instagram. And that's Joshua and Peter and all the other people involved with that. And that's what they were talking about there. So definitely encourage you guys to check that out, and we'll be talking more about it. Kai, are you heading out? Kai's heading out? Was that you want to?
Yes, I am bouncing. This
Thank you,
spire
Kai.
is bouncing, but thank you everyone for sharing your story. And Joshua, like I'm so inspired, and you just gave me this another perspective, and I'm going to look out as my hero's journey unfolds before my eyes and connect it with our collective journey. So thank you
Beautiful.
everyone.
Awesome.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you as well, Kai. We'll see you at the next roundtable. So beautiful. Awesome. All right, okay, let's keep things passing along here. I know there are a couple others who had their hands up. Kristen, you want to go next? Kristen and David, if you guys, because I'm not sure if someone needs to head out earlier or something like that. David, do you want to go first, and then Kristen? Are you okay with that, Kristen? Yeah. Okay. All right. Either or. Okay, I think David's okay with Kristen going next. Okay, we'll pass over to Kristen, and then David, we can pass it over to you next. So okay, let's pass it over to Kristen. Thank you so much, Kristen, for being here, and let's show love for Kristen. Go ahead, Kristen.
I think I caught the talking stick. I'm not sure, but
oh, yeah,
David,
no,
if you want it last minute, he said okay. Awesome. It's so good to see all of you lovely souls. I'm so grateful for this absolutely powerful conversation. The hero's journey is something that I am absolutely, it's something I actually love. The one thing I want to talk about is the beginning, where you have seen the journey and you're in the place where you have to make the decision to take that step into the unknown. For me, that is one of the most powerful places. I was gonna pull up a little diagram. Okay, what's it called? The threshold, the beginning of transformation. And this is a really key point because in the hero's journey, this is the part where you are reminded that it is your choice to step forward. You have all kinds of opportunities in life that will be approached or in your space, or you might be guided. And to be able to sit in that place of seeing the opportunity or hearing the call or knowing the possibilities and feeling that excitement or fear or whatever energy comes to you in that moment regarding that moving into the unknown, and then being able to see and say, I'm going to make this step, I'm going to take that choice, I'm going to take that leap of faith, and I'm going to jump in and move forward. And from there, you don't know where it's going to go because you're quite literally going into the unknown. It's dark, it's mysterious, it's filled with possibilities, but at that point in the journey, you're like, you really have no idea what it's going to be. And so for me, that's like the biggest step to be able to move past that, and then everything after that is just a blessing and an opportunity to learn or grow or deepen your wisdom, or you know, you might have opportunities in your path where you maybe steer off of your hero's journey, or you look back and you say, wow, did I really want to jump into this unknown, you know? And really just giving yourself the opportunity to learn deeper about yourself. But once you've made that jump, in especially if it's one that's a big one, something that you know is going to bring about great change in your life, the peace and comfort that comes from that decision moving forward is priceless. It's irreplaceable. The ability to know that you can be sorry, the dogs wanted to play with the toys, so anyways, got distracted. But the fact that you can choose and the power that comes from that choice is really powerful for me in my journey. And so I just wanted to take a moment to address it and talk about it and give you the opportunity to see, like, if you are in a place in your journey where you see these possibilities and you're not sure where you want to go because it's so unknown, to really just reflect in your space and ask that question to yourself, because nobody can answer that. Nobody can take that step but you. And once you do decide to make that decision to take that step, oh, the places you will go and the wisdom you will gain, and the lessons you'll learn. And then I think too, the other important thing for me is the cycle back around, where you come back to that place of equilibrium where you're like, wow, you're able to look back and you say, okay, that was a journey. I learned some lessons. I gained some new friends. That mentor saved my entire existence in that moment. You know, and then being able to see where do I choose to go next? Where on my journey am I going to step into? What other unknown places can I move? And really just being able to flow and see the excitement in it. I know that there are lots of times in the journey where the unknown is dark and scary and painful, and being able to see the beauty of those parts of the process, and to see the strength that comes from within you while you're in those parts as well. And I think too, those moments are the places where you're able to gain the wisdom that you can then turn and help others to journey through their spaces, and then to be able to sit and say, I see you. I see you for where you are exactly in this now moment. I honor you. I cherish you. And it's going to be okay. You're going to move forward exactly as you're meant to. And just knowing that there's no wrong decision. If you're at the precipice of the unknown and you're like, I don't know if I can do this or not, it's okay to take your time. It's okay to look at your options and say, you know what? Today I'm going to stay in my not unknown space, and I'm going to reflect upon the things as to why I'm not making that step, and know that that's okay too. So for me in the hero's journey, it's really just been a huge learning lesson of knowing to not judge myself or anyone else, because that's the big thing, is seeing that everyone is on their own path, their own journey. And for wherever you are right now, it's easy to see the reflection of yourself and other people, and saying that maybe the fears or anxieties you have about where you're at in your journey, that others are seeing this as well. But if you take a moment and stop and see that they are on their journey in their own spaces, experiencing their own things too, then you guys can really find this place of just uplifting and healing opportunities. And yeah, just not holding judgment for it, knowing that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and the amazing possibilities of being on the journey, and the magic and all of the spaces that happen as you flow through the it's funny because at the very beginning, when you first step into the unknown, it's like the synchronicities and spirit guiding you, and then you meet your mentor and you're like, okay, I feel a little bit more solid, I'm settled in my spaces. But then it kind of goes down into that abyss part where you're like, wait, I thought I had the synchronicities, and I found a mentor, why am I at the abyss? But it's so that way it's in that place right there, in that dark abyss area, that you do have that aha moment, that you have that like, okay, I get it. I finally get what lesson I was here to learn, or I see where I'm moving forward. It's like the light turns on and you're able to step into it without it being so unknown, and you gain that confidence to continue to move forward. And yeah, anyways, I'm gonna ramble, but I love you guys. I so appreciate everybody's story. Joshua, that was amazing. And yeah, I love you guys. Thank you for sharing your perspectives and hearing mine.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kristen, so much. And again, you know, like I agree, like having this little discussion and just having this wisdom of the hero's journey just really allows us to be able to drop into a deeper place of empathy for each and every single one of us. Again, you know, and it's like we can't walk the path for each other, but we can support each other in the process of walking the path. And I really do just want to take a moment here that, again, you know, like most of the people who are involved with the paradigm shift community, like it's a slightly more mature audience. Like most of us are kind of, you know, like closer to 30 and older than 30 and stuff like that. And again, even for those of you younger, again, you know, my context in saying this is that, you know, for some of us, like we have kind of evolved to the point in our hero's journey where we are kind of becoming mentors, which is such a powerful thing. Like we've actually kind of gone through a few revolutions, and we remember when we had mentors and we were first learning. And I think that's such a powerful thing to be able to celebrate. And again, you know, like it's interesting. You know, I'm sure, I guess in some ways, like some people would probably say that to me. You know, if they are new to their journey and they stumble across my TikToks or this podcast or something like that, they'd be like, oh, Brendon, you shifted my paradigm. You opened me up to a new world. And people have said that. But again, in the same way people have said that about me, people would say that about you and you and you and you and you and you, and if they haven't yet, they will, you know. And it is something that I think is just such a powerful observation to be able to see, is that it's like this perpetual, just like it's like it's a Fibonacci sequence, you know, where it's like one hero's journey kind of adds into the next, kind of adds into the next, kind of adds into the next. And it's really, really beautiful, you know. Like what we identify as a hero's journey is nothing more than the codes of the growth of consciousness that's just kind of like in us. And now here we see it just kind of like coming through experience. And key thing that Kristen said, and then I'll pass over to David, a very powerful mantra that I like to be able to work with sometimes is this idea of fall in love with the mystery of the unknown. I'll say that again, fall in love with the mystery of the unknown. If you can kind of keep that in mind in those moments where you're just like, I don't know what's going to happen and stuff like that, allow yourself to kind of reflect on that mantra. And that doesn't mean that you can't feel uncertain and scared and everything like that. You can still do that. But I do feel that there is kind of like this process where at a point in the hero's journey, there's like almost like there's both like kind of like call to take action, but then there's also kind of like this like surrender as well. And it's kind of like a bit of both at different times. But again, you know, for all of us who are going through those points where it's just like you're feeling uncertain and everything like that, know that like we came here to be able to experience a very, very powerful and important time on earth. And this is the most exciting time that we could ever hope to be alive right now. And so even right now on a collective journey, what's happening now in society, like without us having to get into the context of like what's happening on a geopolitical scale and social and everything like that, is still the hero's journey, you know. So if I had to kind of like guess, like at some point, with where we are kind of like right now, I guess we're kind of like in the well, I guess it's probably in multiple places at once, but we're kind of like in the inner cave right now. Like this, there is an ordeal, like there is a deep ordeal that is happening, but what's beyond the ordeal, there is the reward and there is the return back. So let us kind of like assist this bigger hero's journey by being more conscious with our own individual micro hero's journey, and as you expand, the universe expands through you. So shout out to everybody who's here, because you know, like, you're here for a reason. So David, you ready? I'll pass it over to you, dude. Thank you so much for being here, fellow brother, knight of the round table. And David, let's show love for David and passing it over to you, David. Go right ahead and tell us a little bit about the hero's journey.
What's up, everybody? Oh man, so many things. This is my favorite thing. Golly. All right, I think the first thing that comes up for me is the well, my favorite translation of the Emerald Tablet, because I think it's really pretty, which is, in truth, without deceit, certain and most veritable, that which is below corresponds to that which is above, and that which is above corresponds to that which is below, to accomplish the miracles of the one thing, which I think is just a bar. It's one thing. And so for years, my buddy Jake, he'd always be like, yo, man, like, what's your deal? Like, every time somebody brings up Joseph Campbell, you seem like you feel a type of way about it. Like, why are you mad? And it wasn't even that. It was just, it was so interesting that the hero's journey was such an intellectual experience for so many people. And the second I was made aware of it, I think it was automatically intuitive that it's all one thing. So I know we talked about like, it being in movies and stories and certain things like that, but I really want to like offer the opportunity to expand that to it's the only thing. Like, this pattern, this story is literally the only thing in existence. If there is a matrix like code, it's this. It's the whole thing. All stories, there's only one story, right? Understanding this allows you to literally look at every single religion, every magical system, everything that you experience is this story, and it's only one thing. And so, like, this is how your cells grow. This is how the earth was created. It can be very easy to limit it to like, oh, what I want to do in my life and this and that, or this big idea, this big whatever the hell. It's doing the dishes. It's your relationship. It's walking the dog. It's going to work. It's every single thing in existence. It's only one thing. And I think Brendon really hit the nail on the head when it's like, it's such an opportunity for empathy, but it's for everything and everybody, because this is the only thing, like, your body grows from this pattern. So I'm a huge fan of the hero's journey, but I do want to offer the opportunity to kind of expand and not just limit it to the of this story or even to the pieces, because really what I wanted to talk about is the fact that one of the coolest things about being human is we are not limited to the hero's journey as far as the sort of, well, let's back up. There's something that we understand kind of usually after you've sort of seen the journey go over and over again. And we tell this in story all the time, which is usually, oh, everything they needed was at the beginning the whole time. It was always right there, right? They come back and it's like, oh shit, it's exactly where I started. Who knew? And it's literally every single story, right? Your return on the hero's journey, the return, which is a state of being where you have changed and you are now this new ideal that you want to be, that at the beginning, that desire that happened, that's available to you right now, right? That's not something that we have to actually wait on. Truthfully, all of those steps, the only thing that you're really learning as far as skill wise is how to know that whatever you want to do, you can do it. So the skills are immaterial, right? Yes, it can be incredibly useful to like learn these, but after you, I feel like not even after, I don't want to put that on anybody. I think it's important to understand that like what is the line? It's from Batman Begins, and Liam Neeson's talking to Bruce Wayne. He's fighting him, and he's like, "Oh man, like why are you mad at your father?" And he's like, "I'm not mad at my father." He's like, "Yeah, you are. You're mad at your father because he let your parents die." And he's like, "Well, no." He's like, "Well, you wouldn't. What would you have done?" And he's like, "I'm different. I have training." And Ra's al Ghul / Liam Neeson looks him dead in the eyes and says, "The training is nothing. The will is everything." And so it can be very easy to place all of this, not knocking it, but just jump into the lore and then play with this piecemeal like it's something that we have to do. Christian mystic Neville Goddard talks about the state of being, the Christ consciousness, or living at the end. We're essentially living in the state of the return. We're not waiting to, okay, well, maybe this and then refusing the thing. No. We're feeling from that return state at the beginning. And so when we do go through all of those trials, it's like the difference between rolling a boulder uphill and just dropping it down, right? Because if I'm living in the state of being, the Christ consciousness, that it is already done, or let's keep it simple, it's going to work out, right? It's going to work out. What I want to do is going to work out, right? When I'm not moving from that state of fear, I can live at the end. So all of those steps along that journey become just natural, right? I'm naturally moving through life as I should be without that sort of fear inhibition. It's beautifully illustrated in anime with this character trope called the OP anime character. Shonen Jump is probably the most popular anime in the world, or manga in the world, and literally they have this repetitive character that everybody kind of shits on a little bit because they call him the OP anime character. But truthfully, watch the way these eyes are drawn for these characters. They're always looking forward. They're always bright. They're full of consciousness, and there's no fear. They are constantly aware that whatever challenge I deal with, I'm going to be able to, it's going to come out on top. And understanding that you can feel from the end of your journey right now is a game changer. It transforms you. And it's literally what Neville Goddard says is going through the state of John the Baptist to going to the Christ consciousness. John the Baptist thought he had to be an ascetic. He thought he had to, eat honey and live in the woods and be far away from everybody, right? This can be likened to various stages of spiritual materialism along our journey. I gotta do these rituals and things, but all of you are very much aware of how the lessening of the necessity for ritual as you begin to understand, it's just me. These are all just reflections of me. All of the tarot, all of the everything is me. And the more that we live at that state, the less we need to constantly check in with the materialistic things. And when we are fully unified, that's moving from John the Baptist, the ascetic, I got to eat honey. And that's moving into the state of the Christ consciousness, who John said is the person better than me, right? One will come that is greater than I. Christ didn't live in the wood. He didn't have to, he wasn't doing all of the stuff, right? And so the nature of our hero's journey, I think the most cool thing about it is that we don't have to wait, right? We don't have to wait. And truthfully, the entire thing is only delayed by fear. It's only delayed by our sort of okay, maybe I'm still in my status quo and this is cool. Okay, fuck it, I'll do it. Okay, all right, now I want something. Oh no, well, it's not right here right now. Oh, well, I can do it again, right? Live at the end. Go to the end of the circle. So now when we go, oh man, feel from that state, right? Feel as if it's already done. What you want is already done. Y'all already know this, right? It's already done we can go to multi-world theory. We can get into all kinds of whatever you desire is already done. So just take it. The only price that you're paying is giving up. The only thing that ever dies in this journey is you, right? You sacrifice an old conception of yourself. The conception of yourself that you were dead, you allow it to die. Oh, I can't do this thing. I can't be this person. I can't be this Jedi. I can't be this hero. I let that die and I resurrect as my new ideal. Do it now, right? That's one of the best things we can do for ourselves. And so I'm a huge fan of the hero's journey. I could do this all night, so I won't. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it.
That was beautiful. Show love for David. David, thank you so much, man. Again, just everybody here. Just love being able to hear just everyone just speak. And oh yeah, so much wisdom. Like this is, again, I know this is like such an exciting topic for us to be able to just dive into together. So thank you again, everyone. Let me just check in real quick. Derek, I don't know if you're busy right now, but if you want to go jump in next, Derek's not in the Zoom then. So Derek, if you're tuned in on YouTube, feel free to jump back in. I know Derek's multitasking right now, so that's fine. Okay, who wants to go next? Quick check in, and Alice wants to go next. Okay, we'll pass over to Alice and then Ren. Okay, cool. And then again, we'll keep an eye on the time. Like I said, I want to make sure that this isn't like a super long broadcast, that way so we can all get a good sleep tonight and have some awesome dreams. So we will go around once and everything, and then we'll just do a quick little chit chat afterwards. But yeah, this is some beautiful discussion. So Alice, if you're ready, we will pass it over to you. So let's give a nice warm welcome to Alice. And Alice, go ahead, tell us a little bit about the hero's journey. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Alice. Well, here. Thanks so much for this is the podcast. Yeah, we've all been wanting to go off on, so I'm super excited about that, and I've loved listening to everybody, and it is such a unique individual, even this thing that we all know, yes, we're all going through this, yes, this resonates with all of us. What does that mean? We are each so individual, and yet it is exactly what we know we're all going through. So it itself is this like self-fulfilling prophecy, like, oh yeah, we are all one, we all have this one thing that we're doing. So I've, like everyone else, have had my own individual experiences with it, none more profound than the one I'm going through right now. So I'm going to do a little plug for this wonderful writing program that I'm a part of. I'm a part of the flagship of it, but it is going to be a thing, and I really want everyone to know about it simply because I'm loving it so much. It's called the Forgotten Storytellers. It's run by Emily Dexter, who she's kind of a thing on TikTok. Her handle is Liker of Words. She's so funny, and I found her on TikTok. TikTok's like, amazing for bringing everyone together. As well as my individual mentor in this program is Kristen Vitovich, who wrote Writing the High Vibe Hero's Journey, which is her book. She channeled that. So essentially, the whole program is learning how to channel a novel that is a high vibe fiction story, where these people, these two individual mentors of mine here, went through their own individual hero's journey. They've written a number of different novels. They've come back, they've created this wonderful program for everybody to learn how to tell not only your own story, but then to awaken other people and to continue on. I loved, Brendon, when you said it's kind of like a Fibonacci sequence, because yeah, we're all these, or like individual petals in something, and it opens up and it becomes something larger. We're the individual branches of the tree. And now, yeah, we are getting to this point where we're like, all right, I get a lot of these general concepts. I think I'm ready to put this into action. Like, let's go. It's the Great Awakening, right? We've had a whole year like inside. So I'm really loving a whole lot of this. This is such a good podcast for right now, because at the beginning of the astrological year, we just started our Aries season. We're all moving forward with everything. But back to Forgotten Storytellers. What I really love about the whole process of learning how to channel a work is that it acknowledges the fact that it's already written at some point, right? These characters do exist. They're probably channelings, they're representations of other lives that we've lived, or other people that we knew, and we're really interested in looking over that again. When we're here on Earth, we're going over a lot of stuff that happened a really long time ago, or is happening now at the same time, but we're in a physical body to ground it and to take the time, because this is a unique experience that we have where we are experiencing linear time. And like, yeah, it's a pain in the butt until you figure it out. But once you do, and you're like, I know what I want to do with this time on Earth, then it is the most precious thing. And I love the fact that I'm finally able to actually like get done the thing I wanted to do, which is like write a book. But the way that I did it was falling back and saying, I know that I want to do this. The universe is going to bring this to me. and this wonderful program came up because other people, their part in their story is to provide these things. I knew my hero's journey is to write this book. I know that it is someone else's hero's journey to provide a program, to be an editor. They're looking for me, they're looking for my story. So we are all, there's never this, like, lack mentality is almost like, not only does it hurt you, but it's just not real. Like, everyone benefits from everyone's success because you need that person who's going to be a fabulous editor. You need them to believe in themselves just like you believe in yourself. And that, and this is also, I want to, I'm going to go off on it. I'm trying not to get too much into, like, because I want to just plug this program so much because I love it. You don't have to do any of these things alone, and you really can't do it alone. In publishing, it becomes this really great metaphor for the fact that, yeah, you're really working literally with storylines and with other people's storylines as well, having a community to talk to, these other people who are not just going through writing a novel, but going through the very unique experience of writing a novel that they want to, like, awaken other people. It's a very unique, it's so much like paradigm shift. Like, I put out into the universe, I want it all. Like, I want to have people that I'm going through all of this stuff with, even if I actually sometimes I use paradigm shift as a touchstone where I'm like off doing my own thing. I'm like writing, I'm doing my thing, but I'm like, wait, I want to be able to latch back into people. And there are such individual people here who have made an impact on my life that, it's so funny that when you go through a spiritual journey, or when, yeah, you kind of like enter the real world, every little step has these huge reverberations. Someone will say something on a podcast or say something to you in a TikTok, and it just feels like you're like, wow, I didn't know I was waiting my entire life for that person to make a TikTok. What were the chances of that? So making the mundane truly magical as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to get like too crazy, but I did want to plug the Forgotten Storytellers. If you are someone who has wanted to write a novel and you've just been going at it in this way of like, I know I'm destined to write this, but I don't know how. This is such a unique program because there's so much emphasis on getting to know the characters, getting to know yourself, getting to know your astrological chart, and going through meditations, energetic clearings, and everything, so that when you actually write down, if there are no blocks, you should just be able to do it. So, but if you come to things from like the way that we used to do stuff, the way that we lived in the material world, in like this very heavily divine masculine realm, where it was like, we're going to do things in this Zen way, we're going to do things in a straightforward way. I love that this program also encapsulates this new air energy that we're in, and this new divine feminine energy where we're in. We're like, you know what? I'm going to think my way. I'm not even going to think my way through it. I'm going to feel my way through this. And it's run by these two wonderful divine feminines, Emily Dexter and Kristen Vetovich, one more time, just to say their names. And it's been such a unique experience. So I really recommend it to everybody. As you are telling your own hero's journey, I think that I'm really proud to be a part of the first iteration of it. So yeah, wanted to share with you all. And thank you so much. Oh yeah, you can look me up at Awaken Atlas on like everything. So bye.
Awesome. Thank you, Alice, for sharing your excitement. And again, just to reiterate, the program that Alice was talking about, you can check it out at the Forgotten Storytellers on Instagram, and that will connect you into the creators of that program as well. So I again, like that's one of the things that I'm so passionate about too, is storytelling in all its different mediums. And again, I think when we just have conversations about this, we really just kind of like feel these stories just like oozing out of us, right? So when we can kind of see the story that's all around us, we can also begin to see the stories that are within us, and then those stories that we bring out to the world, again, kind of like serve as mirrors for people to see the stories within themselves. It's all a big giant hall of cosmic mirrors or something like that. So it's pretty cool, pretty psychedelic. So okay, let's keep things moving around. We'll pass it over to Ren, and then Derek, if you want to jump in shortly after, you can let us know. And anybody else who wants to jump in after that, Sonya, we can get you either after Derek or before Derek, and we'll keep things moving along. So Ren, we'll pass it over to you, and let's give a nice warm welcome to Ren. And Ren, go ahead and tell us a little bit about the hero's journey. Welcome.
Hey guys. So okay, I have my blockers on because sometimes the screen bothers me. Thank you so much. First of all, Allis, I literally was looking up today how to self-publish your own book. So synchronicities, very weird. but I'm probably gonna check them out because sometimes I'm like, I could use that extra help. But yeah, like I just feel like we all have stories to tell, and they all connect in some way or another. You know, like we're all like part of the same puzzle. We're just different pieces. Um, but thank you so much for everyone sharing their stories. David, like that was awesome what you had to say, and this is my first time seeing you on camera. Um, Joshua, yeah, the hero's journey is, I feel like every person is meant to take in their life. It's just a matter of when that opportunity, the door of opportunity opens, whether you want to take it or not. It's really funny because the first, like the, what is it, the call to action actually takes place, like I found out, I think it was like this book, Astrology and Health, takes place under the sign of Cancer. So like until Cancer metaphorically like releases that attached hold on you, that's when you start to like awaken, you start to see things. um for me, I think it's weird that it correlated exactly my awakening with when I started to heal my gut. And Cancer is correct, like directly related to your solar plexus. So I feel like a lot of that has to do with the way that we feel about ourselves, our willpower, you know, our determination, and how we view ourselves. But yeah, this was, I had so much more to say, but I got lost in all your stories. um but yeah, for me it was very like, my hero's journey has been like a really long process. I really didn't have any mentors or anyone to really help me along my way. It kind of was something that I just had to like strip away my ego, because there were a lot of times in my past that I just held this anger, and I was always angry at people, and like working places I just would like snap, and like I realized I was just really emotionally reactive, and I like was my own worst enemy in a way, and I didn't realize that like it's not just about me, you know. And I think that we all think that like, oh, it's just like this is my life, no one has been through what I've been through, and they don't see the bigger picture, which is that it's not just about you. You relate to everything, and when you can awaken up your heart center, it will awaken up more doors, it will awaken more people to their truth and be inspired. So along your hero's journey, I would just, if I like were to give anyone advice, just like follow your heart, and like ego is not everything, you know, like thinking that, you know, like the world revolves around you is really, let that go. Like because once you realize like the Fibonacci sequence, like we are all a part of the same thing, you know. You cannot go somewhere unless like you fix yourself, and just like everyone else, like. But yeah, I would say follow your heart. Yep, Joshua. Authenticity, like screw the mold, like, you know, like I had more people in my life that like liked me when I was reactive and when I was angry, when I would want to drink all the time. And like since then, like realizing, oh, you guys don't want to be around me as much. It wasn't that I was better then, it was that I wasn't being authentic and true to myself. And so when you do awaken, you're gonna sacrifice some things. You're gonna lose some friends. You're gonna lose maybe some like family members that look at you weirdly. Like you're gonna sacrifice things, but what you don't sacrifice is your soul. You know, that's the one thing you retain. And so I think that's more important, you know, than anything else. But yeah, that's what I'd have to say about the hero's journey. I love this topic and I appreciate you all. um but keep going, literally don't let anyone deter you, because your authenticity is like, you're why we need you here, you know, because people, like Alice said, someone's going to look at you and be inspired. Whereas like if you're not being your authentic self, you're just leading people to something that is not going to help them in the end, you know. So be yourself.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Ren, as always. And I love, again, I know like so many of us could probably just like totally just, like I said, really geek out hard on this topic, where it's just like, what are some of our favorite examples of hero's journey and stuff like that? Because again, you know, for us growing up, I think there's a reason why so many of us were kind of like really big fans of certain pieces of media. You know, it's like I was like super into Legend of Zelda, and I was super into like certain animes and, you know, like in specific video games and these stories and stuff like that. And again, like the Miyazaki movies and stuff. And now as I kind of get older, it's just like, whoa, like why was I so into those? It's like because I saw myself in them, you know, like I was actually able to resonate with these characters, or at least I, like, in some ways, like I feel like seeing those characters in movies almost kind of help me kind of like shape my awareness of myself, or kind of like I would almost like kind of maybe model myself after them, whether it was consciously or unconsciously, where I'd be like, oh, like I really want to be like Link one day. And now I don't know, like apparently that worked out, I guess. I mean, I think we can all be Link, we can all be Zelda, in some way or another. And again, you know, it's really just seeing ourselves as these real world embodiment of these, again, very like fantastical creatures, that we've again kind of fallen in love with. So now we have this chance to really be able to fall in love with ourselves. And that's where, again, within the Paradigm Shift Central community, when you know, within our Friday broadcast, which we'll be doing tomorrow at 10 a.m. EDT, we talk about the activation of the Light Guardian archetype. Like that whole story that I'm walking us through time and time again, you know, this activation process is to be able to help us see ourselves as the hero of the hero's journey. And again, I love just going back to what David was talking about, of really like feeling the future, feeling that kind of like full-on formed embodiment, feeling yourself at that level of completion, and then using that to kind of create this like golden rope between yourself and the present moment. And then again, you know, like the path of the hero's journey, it very much is the path of dharma, you know. So this is where when you think about like the different cultures and how they've explained it, like what they refer to as dharma, what they refer to as the dharma being basically like the life purpose, was the hero's journey. And then karma is basically the universal energy that kind of brings us back onto that path when we've kind of moved off of it. So the karma are the different initiation elements along the journey, and then the dharma is the path that leads us to the golden self, or the golden elf, as I like to kind of refer to it as. So yeah, lots of stuff to be able to geek out to. So let's keep passing the talking stick around. And one thing that Ren mentioned, and I was like Googling this as she was doing this, I was like, wait a second, because you know how I said there's like 12 stages. Some people might say there's more or less, but I'm like, wait a second, like do the 12 stages correlate to the zodiac? Like could we break that? Like if I were to like go back and like look at that, it's like, whoa, like does that actually work that way? But yeah, absolutely. Again, you know, the fact that we're doing this broadcast here at the start of Aries season is such a powerful, again, you know, it's just kind of like one of those things where like the idea just kind of came to me, and I'm like, that's the topic that we need to do right now. Because I feel like, you know, over the past couple weeks, like we were kind of going through our own trials and tribulations. Like there was a whole transition from Pisces to Aries, which was a lot of kind of like releasing things that no longer serve you, and then kind of moving into a place of power and embodiment. So now here we are, where it really gives us a chance to reflect, this opportunity of self-reflection, and be like, what am I choosing to embody? What hero am I choosing to become? And again, I really just celebrate the courage that we all have, because I think, again, with the hero's journey, there will be this element of free will, where again, you know, the hero can receive that call to action, but it will be the free will in which, you know, they can choose to just be like, no thanks. Neo could have taken the blue pill, you know, but he chose the red pill. So in some cases, it's like, you know, like the hero's journey, like it can almost kind of push us out the door, like that can happen. But oftentimes it's a call, it's a beckon. So it's like, do you hear the call? And really just celebrating the idea that, you know, like the courage involved with kind of stepping into that known and stepping into that fray is just such a powerful part of just one step along something that's much, much bigger than that. So again, kudos to each and every single one of you, because again, there are a lot of people out there that they haven't taken that step yet. And I won't say like they will never take it. There will be some people, but again, it's always a microcosm, macrocosm. It's always relative. I feel like everybody's kind of got their hero's journey. But I guess in some cases, you know, for some people's hero's journey, and this is, it's almost like a sad story, their hero's journey might almost be kind of like them kind of reaching a time in their life, and it's like almost like regret, you know. And I think like that's a thing that can sometimes almost like scare us the most, like the scare of what if can almost be what can be useful for kind of like pushing us out the door. It's like if I don't, who will? If I don't, what will my life be? So, you know, some people they kind of fall into that, and they'll just be like, it is what it is, you know. But at the same time, I think those of us who really are connecting in with the spark of the spirit inside of us, you know, it's just kind of it's answering our own internal call. It's answering the beckoning of the universe. But it really does come down to free will. Like consciousness consciousness is something that when it comes to the human level of self-awareness, within the plants and the minerals and the animals, it seems to almost just kind of evolve automatically over a period of time. But within humans, the difference is not whether or not we have free will, it's why we have free will. And the process of why we have free will is so that we have to make that choice to consciously evolve. So when you make that choice to step out the door on your hero's journey and to continue through the trials and tribulations and the growth into the return and the activation, like that is how you evolve your consciousness. So see the hero's journey literally as, again, it's the stepping stones, it's a stepping stone towards the process of literally awakening our consciousness. And that is what we are here to do. And if we can accept the fact that that will have its challenges, that the hero's journey isn't something that is necessarily here to make you, like, life itself isn't necessarily something that's here to just make you quote unquote happy. It's something that's here to evolve your consciousness. So like this entire earth is like a school, a system to evolve consciousness, to awaken the soul, like that's such a powerful thing. So here we have this opportunity where we can really tap into that deeper part of ourselves, and we're like, oh yeah, that's why I came here, to go on my hero's journey. Like I'd be missing a great opportunity if I were to spend my entire lifetime on earth and not awaken that consciousness, so to speak. So kudos to each and every single one of you who have that degree of self-awareness to understand that it is something that involves that step, it involves that choice, it involves that free will to be able to say, yes, I am doing this. And even as you do it, knowing that the trials and tribulation were there, but again, I think what the hero's journey can provide is a degree of wisdom and maturity that does lead to a deep sense of happiness, and happiness from like a higher perspective, like happiness that's almost like a solace, where it's just kind of like, whoa, like I'm glad I made the choice, I'm glad I went through it. I lost, I loved, but I also gained so much in the process. And now as a result of this, again, one of the best things that we can do is give ourselves the gift of meeting who we are here to become. And so don't spend your entire life not meeting yourself, like allow yourself to kind of like pull back the layers, go inside and see yourself emerge as the hero that you are destined to be. So beautiful. Okay. All right. Kristen, are you heading out? Is that what do we do? Is that no? Okay. All right. Okay.
To speak on something that you said, if that was okay.
Sure. Go for it, and then we'll keep passing the talking stick. Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. It's exciting for me because that's one of the most powerful parts, is whenever you are making the conscious choice to be able to say, I choose to follow this path. I choose to like, whenever you see the synchronicities and you're making sense of the things, and you're in that moment of, okay, I can choose to go in this direction, or I can choose to not, and really finding that, like, I don't even know if I can find the right word for that moment, other than it's just like really pure magic. Motivational magic is the best way I can think. Leah agrees. So, but yeah, just knowing that, like, it is really powerful to be able to see the parts of the journey. And I know even while you're moving through the beginning phases of like learning to trust, and to trust yourself, really to trust the synchronicities and the signs and the places that you put yourself in. But like, I know for myself anyways, it's almost whenever I follow a sign or a synchronicity that's like not in alignment with my path, with my journey, I can always kind of feel that dissonance between myself and my path. And so if you feel like you're on your journey and you're not really resonating anymore at the level that you used to, just check in with your body and say, is this in alignment with my purpose, with my desire, with my happiness, with my joy? Because like you said, it really is about finding that, like, that inner peace, that inner joy of knowing that, whatever trials you go through, whatever lessons you pass through, that, you're always going to be able to have yourself, and to be able to find that peace from within, at least in my own journey, has been probably one of the most powerful things I've ever experienced, because I know that no matter what I go through, no matter what challenges I face or exciting moments I experience, that I always have that peace within me to just hold. And so, yeah, I just wanted to add. Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And one more thing I'll just say as Kristen was talking here, again, just as kind of context for something I'm sure we can all relate to or at least observe within kind of culture right now. Again, this idea that basically when we go through these kind of processes and periods of our life, where we may feel out of alignment or we may feel depressed and things like that, and we may feel sad. Again, listen very deeply in those moments and ask questions. Just be like what do I need in order to be able to feel joyful and happy and excited, and to be able to kind of like that's the thing, like we have like this energy that's constantly kind of like looking to express itself, and that's usually again where kind of like depression kind of arises from, where there's almost a stagnation. So that those moments of depression can actually be very powerful catalysts for us to be able to cultivate a self-awareness, to be able to say, what do I need to do in order to be able to help express that energy? What is important to me? What is special to me? And that can actually help push us out the door. Like we will push ourselves out the door. Like the depression can actually be the catalyst to be able to say, like, there has to be more than this. What do I need to do? And then you kind of start looking towards other things, and then you start opening doors, and synchronicities start kind of like leading you in more directions and everything like that. And I'm sure that's something that again, all of us can relate to. And then even still, when and if those kind of moments continue to arise in our life, again, we can kind of like see those as a point within our journey where it's just kind of like, okay, where can I make adjustments? Where can I continue to kind of like reassess my current reality to be able to help create an environment that is nurturing the expression of this creative energy that wants to move through me? And so if you can create that path where it's like, oh, where's the journey? Where's the adventure? Let's make one. Let's find one. Let's challenge ourselves. Let's do something new. Let's find other people that are on this shared path. Let's speak our truth. Let's connect in ways that are important and meaningful for us. And then you incubate these things. And again, like that's the thing. Like the hero's journey isn't going to be this literal thing where you have to like travel the world to Kathmandu or anything like that. The hero's journey can literally just be the process of cultivating new daily habits and routines within your day-to-day life, where it's just kind of like my hero's journey is going to be like waking up early and meditating and doing yoga and like exercising, and then just noticing the process of how that transformation will naturally kind of like evolve and ripple into other parts of your life. Like how you do one thing affects how you do everything. So if you're just kind of looking to be able to start that hero's journey, one step at a time, you're not going to take 50 steps at once, one step at a time. And so that can be, again, your hero's journey, the next stage of your hero's journey can literally begin with a small step. And maybe that small step is listening to this podcast or listening to an audiobook or talking to someone who you value and respect and kind of asking them for guidance and instruction, or doing an oracle reading, or paying attention to your dreams and everything like that. The fact is, the universe is here to support you. The universe wants you to be able to succeed. And so it's just being able to kind of like meet the universe halfway. Like it's kind of one of those things where this is something that again just allows us to drop into this deep place of empathy, because I think there are some times where it can feel as if the universe isn't moving things for us, but we kind of have to be able to make those moves, and then the universe will kind of meet us halfway as well. It's always relative. It's always going to be a different story for different people. But again, the universe, kind of going back to the quote from the beginning, which was a Joseph Campbell quote, and it reminds me of a Terrence McKenna quote where it basically says like the universe loves courage. And the Joseph Campbell quote is, follow your bliss and the universe will open doors for you where there were only walls. So again, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, if I were to wake up today and do what excites me, what would that look like? And really just ask yourself that, and then see what you can do to be able to help move towards that, even if it's just like one little thing of that. Or what can I do to be able to kind of like incubate my environment to be able to help nurture a space that is going to help support that mindset and that habit and that routine. That's very, very important. So again, the hero's journey is ultimately one of self-responsibility and accountability as well, because it won't just happen for you. Like you have to kind of like you have to incubate it, you have to create it, you have to carve that path. And again, I think that's where some people they almost unconsciously shy away from the hero's journey and from the shadow work and from going into the cave and everything like that, because it does require a big degree of self-awareness and responsibility. Like it requires you to be able to say like, oh, if I'm not happy with where I am right now, I know that the only person who's going to help me get out of this is me. So it really brings it into that place where it's like, yes, this is you really being able to say, I am choosing to really reflect deeply and to take that accountability for myself. And again, a lot of people, if they haven't been supported in doing that, that can be really, really, really challenging. But that's where community comes in, and that's where we can kind of be able to say like, hey, you know, let's talk. What do you need? Like, remind me of what's important to you, and just kind of being a mirror and help them kind of vocalize and verbalize and communicate. And then as we continue to do this, again, I think what you'll notice, what we'll individually notice, is that the solutions naturally kind of arise, and there's like, oh, I know what I need to do. Like, I need to get a new job, or I need to go for a walk more often, or I need to change my diet, or I need to pay attention to my dreams, or I need to stop watching media all the time and start being very intentional with the energy that I'm bringing into my space, and kind of like, again, incubating the story that you want to be able to create. So yeah, does that make sense with you guys? Again, I'm just kind of like talking off my heart right now, but yeah, I feel like that's something where, yeah, just contextualizes kind of like where many of us are at, probably at, or where have been at different points within the hero's journey, where again we can kind of see the various versions of catalysts, but ultimately it is one that is, again, kind of calling us into a place of self-awareness and accountability and consciousness. You know, consciousness is awareness. So okay, let's keep things moving along. And I know, Sonya, you want to go next, and Derek, I know you're in here, but Derek, you're probably just listening on YouTube. So Derek, let us know if you want to jump in after Sonya. Jessica, you can let us know if you want to be able to jump in as well. And yeah, let's just keep things rolling along here. So Sonya, give me a thumbs up if you would like me to pass it to you next. And with that said, we will pass over to Sonya. So let's give a nice warm welcome to Sonya. And Sonya, go ahead, tell us a bit about the hero's journey, and welcome.
Hi, everyone. Yay. I'm pretty new. I joined recently, and I'm not sure what I'm going to say, because I've just been sitting back and just listening and enjoying everything that everyone's shared. But there's just so much good stuff in there that I don't really know where to start. But yeah, the hero's journey, like, just honestly, yeah, even Brendon, what you just shared about, like, even just the little habits and like changing up your routine. Like, I feel like I'm still at a fairly beginning stage, like kind of like the messy stage, like kind of like the getting out of the dark night of the soul, or I go in and out, or I just go through again. It's like I thought I'd done so much shadow work, and then it pops up again, and it's like, oh, you know, again, it's like, it's almost like I'm at that point where I'm accepting it. Now I'm accepting where I am. Now I'm sitting in it. Now I'm going on long walks, and I'm starting to meditate more, and I'm starting to journal more. Like, these are starting to become like daily practices. So I really enjoy what so many of you have shared, because it's been so helpful to me. And even like I think Flash, you said, like, on a micro level, it's just sometimes I get so caught up on how it's going to be, or what's my big purpose, and just trying to look at the end from the beginning, or comparing my beginning to someone else's wherever they're at. And it's like, stop, you know, it's the self-sabotage and the overwhelming myself. And like, even just taking some time, like a breather, to just kind of acknowledge where I'm at now and how far I've already come. And even just the things leading up to that, you know. And I've been on lots of like little journeys that have helped me start this actual awakening journey, you know. And yeah, and I've started doing what I love. I think for me, like, the official waking up or taking the red pill, like, I started watching The Matrix again, and I started getting into like a discussion about, you know, I think that like for this, like for me, this happened during the pandemic, like in September. And my friend was already awakened, and like we talking about angel numbers and all kinds of stuff and crystals, you know. And it started there, and with the daily yoga and going outside. Anyway, and then he's like, oh, maybe you're shifting out of 3D. And I'm like, what does that mean? You know, and just these little things like that. And just having these like very like beginning moments. And I think when I look at the diagram that you shared, Brendon, like, it's like just almost like the psychic help, like otherworldly help. Like, I was getting all these like synchronistic, like really cool experiences, like lucid dreams, opening portals, like in like meditations, I was seeing really cool stuff, like almost hallucinogenic stuff. And like I've worked through my addictions, and some of I've been like sober for a while, like 2 years, and it's like, how can this happen? It's like I haven't taken anything. So that made me think, yeah, there's definitely other dimensions out there, and I've explored other things. I'm like, what are they? So that was really cool. And now it's like the little things, the little victories that I have to celebrate are just the achievements I've made in terms of like the shadow work, or recognizing how, like, taking responsibility for how I show up in my relationships, like acting differently, um, like letting people go that didn't serve, or they, and just also attracting different people as new characters in my story. I think Joshua, you mentioned that. I thought that was really cool, and just synchronicities of like basically my outer world starting to manifest my inner world, like in these little snippets. And like sometimes there's still doubts, and it's like I'm watching the programs, I'm like, why am I thinking this? Why am I having this doubt? Like it can be all kinds of things. And like the willpower is kind of like that seeded, but it's like growing. And then there's like other like noises that like I'm learning to just kind of observe now and go, okay, so I practice grounding more, and I practice like somatic meditation. Like I've heard that it's a lot of like healing, a lot of healing and letting go of old stuff, like energetic stuff. And now I'm learning how like trauma gets trapped in the body. So it's kind of releasing energy in like that kind of way, because I feel like on an emotional level, I'm starting to get there. Yeah, and it's funny, I pulled an oracle card, and it's the awakening one. And like the world upside down. So I think it's like synchronistic to what we're talking about. And one thing I also want to mention, actually, Alice, I think you talked about storytelling. I realized like this was like 5 years ago, I was in a writing group, and this is when I was like living in Thailand. Anyway, a lot of things happened there, but then that was like my creativity, that was my expression at the time, and I was using my imagination. And now I look back on it like it was almost like channeling. There was like some virus, like predicting almost. And I was talking about like some virus where like you couldn't even see humans anymore, and they were turning into mutants. I don't know. It's like, and then and I was having these remembrances of like an ancestor and like an old family member who once upon a time, could access this, like, he had this key somewhere that I had to find, and it was like to open some portal somewhere. And like it was some underground world, and like that is really, I don't know, that for me is almost. And then there was another girl talking about dragons, and I'd like to explore that more, like that sort of mythical side of yeah, just kind of exploring what's in my subconscious, or maybe it's like channeling from somewhere else. But like even now, I'm starting to attract more of like people that are at the same or like similar stages as me, maybe more mentors. And it's like, and even though I don't know what I'm doing, I'm still trying things. And it's like thanks. And even like recently, like even on the weekend, like I hosted, like me and my girlfriends, like we did a like women's circle. And even with a friend of mine, like after the equinox, we were going up Mount Royal, and we found this really cool place where someone had made a fire, and it's like at the top of the mountain. So I want to make this thing happen. It's kind of like setting the intention of, like building my own tribe, or just letting the right people, allowing me to allowing myself to attract the right people in my life, and just kind of going with the flow of what feels right to my soul, and not overthink it in my head. So I think that's kind of where I'm at, and just staying in the heart space and staying in my authenticity, because that's when some of the best things seem to happen.
and accepting where I am and just not really knowing where I'm going with this thing, but enjoying it somehow. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for sharing, and it's been super inspiring to hear all of your stories.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sonya, for sharing your story, for sharing your hero's journey as well. So that's beautiful, and we'll keep the talking stick going around. I know Jessica Flash wanted to be able to jump in, and one thing I just wanted to say real quick is that, again, you know, like in the context of the hero's journey, going back to this idea of courage, just kind of listening, just seeing ourselves and each other's stories. I think such a key thing within our hero's journey, in addition to like following our bliss and everything like that, is really being able to practice having the courage and the bravery to do what's best for us. When that means like standing up for ourselves and like setting boundaries and like cutting ties and things like that, and being able to really get clear on the idea that it's okay for you to be able to do what's best for you, instead of kind of like I think sometimes that can happen where sometimes some people's journey will be like, oh, I'm on my journey, and then suddenly it's just like, oh, like my journey, like someone's like hijacking my journey, and then it's like you start living someone else's expectation of you, sort of thing. And then if you become aware of that, that's where as the hero, that's where you can like kind of like pull out your sword and be like, yeah, and you like kind of like cut through it, and you're just like, nah, and you like cut through the bullshit, so to speak. And you can just get like really clear on the idea that it's just like, you know, like my path is to follow my heart, to follow my bliss, knowing that your bliss won't be everybody's bliss. And if anything, like there will be people in your life who will challenge you, like who will literally like whether they're doing it consciously or unconsciously, like they will test you, they will push your buttons. And then in those moments, you can either choose to bend to their will, or you can be able to stand in your power and stand in your truth. So you can kind of become aware of kind of like when those things happen. Those can be, you know, relationships with parents, with friends, with anybody, you know, like really, 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 you'll see it multiple times. And those people, again, you know, if anything, like as you move through those, to still be able to, maybe not necessarily in the immediate moment, but as you move through it, I think what's powerful from the hero's journey perspective is to be able to move into those circumstances and to be able to use it, to look back on it and to look at it even moving into it with like that mantra and that perspective of like, thank you for helping me. You know, it's just kind of like one of those things where it's in a movie where the antithesis creates the opportunity for the hero to kind of like rise into their power. If there wasn't the villain, the hero wouldn't rise, sort of thing. So it's like when the shadow looms, the light rises, sort of thing. So it's like when someone tries to kind of like loom over your light, that's an opportunity for you to kind of like pierce through the veil and to kind of like see yourself arise even stronger, right? So you can kind of see this like epicness kind of unfolding within your life. And yet here, like, you know, it's like in the context of movies, it's like fighting dragons and boss fights and villains and stuff like that. And here within the context of like everyday life, it's just like saying no and setting boundaries and doing what's best for you and getting really clear on what it is that you want in life, and then kind of building the momentum and moving forward with that. So, which is so powerful, because that is again, you know, that's life. That is the hero's journey as well. So and again, you know, I love the idea that we did a meditation on Monday, and it was all about kind of like the hero's journey archetype, and I guess spoilers, but a big part of it was this idea of like this dragon, and you're fighting this dragon, and even though you're fighting it and there's this conflict, the story actually kind of concludes with you basically empathizing with the dragon and seeing the dragon as kind of like this soul. You see the soul and you meet the soul in the dragon, and it's your kindness that actually concludes the fight. Like, it's you don't kill the dragon, you actually kind of like, you help the dragon kind of like return back to like something pure within its heart as well. So again, even in those moments where you see the antithesis, where you see the villains within your stories, again, I think as the hero, can you bring in the empathy? You know, can you kind of like set clear boundaries, but also still at the same time be able to hold empathy as well, because they themselves are kind of like a reflection. Again, it's like the dark link within the water temple. Ren knows what I'm talking about. Ren's literally going through the water temple right now as we speak. So again, we will face those shadow parts. We will face those reflections every single person that we meet will be a mirror for us to be able to see ourselves, and that will allow us to see the things that are awesome and the things that may be less awesome, but ultimately the things that we can benefit simply by being able to bring more consciousness to it. So Jessica, sorry, I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent there. I started talking about Zelda, I got excited. So Jessica, I'll pass it over to you. You wanted to reply to something that Sonya was saying, if I'm not mistaken, so go right ahead, Jessica, and we'll just kind of get into popcorn style as well. Go for it.
Okay. I also, if Derek wants to hop in,
Yeah, we'll get Derek in here eventually. He's a turtle. He's not in a rush. So
Sonya, I really appreciated like so much of what you said, and I loved, maybe touched on a little bit of like addiction and stuff like that. And I've had family members that go through the program, and there's like 12 steps in that too. And like just kind of thinking about that in this hero's journey, that you are kind of going through this process of transformation, reconciliation, and rebirth through that. And sometimes it doesn't stick, there might be the call to action, but then we refuse or we go through. And so I really resonate with that kind of that journey in and of itself. And the other thing I really appreciate that you touched on was, and Allis touched on this too, is this writing component of getting at things out. Cause I'm at a point where it's all up in here. It's like right in here. And then, but there's like a little bit of like, am I crazy? Like, what's going on here? And so I had this like revelation today. I was like, whoa, okay, what if I say this out loud? Like, what's gonna happen if I start TikToking? And I was like, okay, yeah, TikTok on your phone. Who are you talking to? You're talking to everyone. You're not specifically talking to someone. So you're talking to the collective, which is in essence then talking to yourself. And I was like, oh, well, that's awesome. I can totally do that. And so I had like this little micro hero's journey with that I gotta, still kind of go through and follow through with that. But I just love, the story sharing and going through that element and getting it out there so that, everyone can then resonate. Like hearing you say that, you're new, but there's so much that I feel. And I want to just really quickly tie that back into what David was saying earlier, is just like, it's already done. And like, the more I keep tapping into that feeling, I can't always put it into words, but I've been feeling that. And then I'll just kind of go with it. And it's a little bit more, Brendon talked about just being in that moment of happiness and feeling that moment of happiness. And I can't always see the picture, but then I feel it. And like today I was like, oh yeah, this is how it's kind of lining up. I still can't see where it's going to end up, but then I know a little bit more about the boundaries that I have to set right now. And so thank you for that insight. Thank you for being a mentor. Thank you, everybody. So that's it.
Thank you, Jessica, as well. Beautiful. So much love being shared here. So again, let's just kind of keep things moving along. Jessica Lee, if you want to jump in at any point, just go ahead and let us know. And I know Derek, if you're there, you can also let us know if you want to jump in. Derek, let us know if you want to jump in next, and Jessica, let us know if you want to jump in. And I think we're passing it over to, okay, so we'll pass it over to Derek. So let's pass it over to Derek. So Derek, he's like an etheric entity right now. Some sort of, just imagine Derek as like a floating turtle, just like in your space right now. So Derek, welcome. We'll go ahead. We'll pass over to you. Tell us about the hero's journey.
Hey, thanks, Brendon. Can everyone hear me? Test.
Sounding good. Go for it. Turtle power.
Sing 1, 2. Just running this. Am I live? Are we good?
We're all good. Go for it.
All right, cool. Hey, it's been amazing. Listen, everyone. Thanks for everything that everyone shared. Seriously, uplifting. It's really made my night. So thank you for that. I can't go into everything, but basically I agree with everything. It's been a good reflection. We've been good mirrors for each other, kind of reflecting and demonstrating the potential within. I think I had 3 points jotted down of self-discovery, realizing dormant inner powers being a theme, God self transcending the illusion, trance ending the trance, and metamorphosis shedding the shell, revealing true essence. And I have 2 pages of kind of philosophy that I put down, and they kind of tie right in with the hero's journey and talking about light emanating from an infinite number of directions, each ray constituting a line of sight, angle, perception. No two are quite alike, yet all originate from the same source. Everything in life is connected through love and light. True love, like light, is unconditional, extending to all, in favor of none, seeing self in all, and all as one. And this goes into, I think, I forget who said this earlier, but letting your ego go and realizing that everyone you meet is kind of an extension of yourself, and we need other people in order to understand ourselves. We understand each other through each other. And this is a quote from Cloud Atlas saying, "To be is to be perceived, and so it is only possible to know oneself through the eyes of the other." And that, I think, in any hero's journey, at some point you realize you are one with everything. Back to what David said, is it's all one. There's no division. So you realizing your power as one within the whole and one whole within all, that gives you a certain respect for the reflections you come across, each being their own genuine story, an authentic perspective, and a unique truth to share. Nothing in nature being wasted. Everything has a purpose, a role within the whole. And the more we take interest in other stories, the more colors we weave into our own, and the richer we become, and the richer the overall story becomes. And I think part of the hero's journey talks about, like, we're all looking for that love, to restore that feeling of comfort, that soothing and wholesome nourishment we long for. And at the same time, we are heroes in that we all have the ability to bring some love and light into the life of another. And everyone alive here and now is truly gifted in many, many ways. And please find it, please develop it, share it, watch the world transform. That's the calling, rising, the call to action. And also, just, I like the mantra I mentioned earlier of fall in love with the mystery of the unknown. It's bringing you to face your own powers and rise to know that whatever illusions you face, you will overcome, because you're gifted, because you've tapped in the power of all that you've met. And everything's connected. The part cannot be separated from the whole. Each whole is part of a greater unit. When we uplift even the smallest being, this piece of the puzzle is affected and creating a ripple effect as a whole is uplifted. So being a hero, taking anything out of your day to just make anyone's life better, even in a small way. It's the mundane things as well as the monumental things. Things turn out best for those who make the best out of the way things turn out. And the best in the world is what you have now. So for the benefit of all at the cost of none, though we may feel alone, we are all one. And then some kind of spiritual credos or sayings from around the world that I think kind of tap into this, at least the realization of self as all, is the namaste, or in one interpretation, I see and honor the divine light within you, within all. Ubuntu, which is from Africa, saying I am because we are. Midakuye Oyesin, which is everything I do is not for myself, but for all my relations. And the Hopi quote that has become more and more popular, and I love seeing this wherever I see it, is we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are all on the hero's journey, and I'd love to see a representation of the collective hero's journey. Millions and millions of souls rising in synchronicity and awareness of their own true divine, limitless, infinite power through love. And if any of that got through, if everyone's still here, I extend that to all of you. We're all divine reflections of powerful, infinite, loving wisdom and light and energy. And the more we have positive, successful representations and reflections to learn from and share information, knowledge, light with each other, the more we can accelerate this process, and the more we can create the type of world we all want to live in from our hearts. With that being said, love to all of you. Thanks for being here, and thanks for sharing your light with me.
Beautiful. Awesome, Derek. Very, very eloquently said, and thank you. I'm glad you were able to get some notes down on that ahead of time. That was very well delivered, and yeah, so much wisdom there, dude. And yeah, I love just, again, like the emphasis that, you know, right in alignment with what Paradigm Shift is all about, where, again, you know, encouraging and helping people activate as the superheroes that we are, but reminding ourselves that it is the little things that make the big difference. And so, again, you know, the role of each and every single one of us here is to be able to again serve as a person that can make a difference in one person's life, and thus in doing so you make a life, you know, it's like when you change one person's world, you change the world. So again, you know, it's not about trying to go out there and make like the biggest monumental thing possible, but it's about being kind to each other, being kind to yourself, developing your relations. And again, you know, the power that each and every single one of us has as the hero, as the superhero, is the power of the heart. And it is the power of the heart to be able to help others find their way back to their heart as well. Something that we talk about, you know, this hero's journey as we go through the trials and tribulations and the call to actions in the caves and then the return. It is the return back to the heart. And thus, in turn, we help others return to that as well. It is literally the remembering, the re-hearting process that we are experiencing collectively. And it's just so beautiful to be able to see how far it's come in the last, you know, decade and even just in the last several months, and will continue to take place. And it's literally taking place because conversations like these are happening more and more frequently. So Derek, thank you again for being a part of this conversation. And straight up, man, it's an honor to be able to have you as a friend. Derek and I, we've been buddies for quite some time now, and we've really been able to see each other grow on this journey. And Derek, thank you, man. You're an inspiration to me, and I appreciate you being here. So it's beautiful. Cool. All right, so let's kind of, we'll start moving towards the end of the broadcast. I feel like after Derek said that, it's be like, mic drop, that's it, that's the end of the broadcast, nothing more needs to be said. But we'll go around just a little bit more, just be able to add any closing thoughts and gratitude, and then we'll finish off the broadcast officially. So anybody here, if you guys just want to be able to jump in, whether it's a reply to Derek or anything else, we'll do that now. So Ren, then Kristen. Go ahead, Ren.
Thank you so much for that, Derek. Just like, yeah, what you said, when one person works on themselves, it changes another person. And like, to the Jessicas in here, I know you guys are like, and Sonya, you're like starting off on your journey and it's like fearful, it's unknown. Like the fact that you're like, you already made that realization that like you want to get there, you're already like 10 steps ahead of like what a lot of people like don't get to, you know? So like, don't ever feel ashamed or guilty at yourself of not being where you want to be yet, because everything is in within divine timing, you know, like, so what's meant for you is not meant to come for you yet, because you're going to be your miraculous self when that amazing opportunity and thing comes. And like, just like all of us in here, we're still like, everyone in the paradigm shift, like everyone is on their journey. No one's like, oh, I'm done, I successfully completed, like I have no more work to do. Like that's, you're always learning. Every single day is a new lesson, you know? So no one's ever above anyone else. And like, that's what we're here to do as human beings, is to uplift each other and like help every individual realize that within themselves, that like, we just want every person to realize that self-worth within themselves. Because when they realize that, then like Derek was saying, the rest of the collective consciousness can like come together in this state of like peace and tranquility and harmony, and like we can do amazing things when we're in that high state of mind. So I'm proud of you all, and keep going, don't ever stop. You already know, like, you're doing it every day. You don't need to be any further than where you already are right now. You're already doing it, like everyone else said, you know? So be proud of how far you've already freaking came, and be proud of how far you're going to continue to go. So thank you guys, I love you all.
Oh, it's beautiful, Ren, and we're proud of you. That was beautiful said. I love this. Like, just, this is so beautiful. Like, just hearing everybody talk, and just because I can like feel the fire inside of us. You know, like that was like part of the purpose of us doing this discussion, was to kind of like nurture that fire, nurture that flame of the hero. And now, again, just with any of these podcasts that we do, it's literally here to kind of like charge your spiritual battery, and then you'll bring it with you into the week, and you'll bring it with you. As well as this new self-awareness, you know, so you're kind of like consciously be showing up within the hero's journey a little bit more than what you might have done last week, so to speak. So and yeah, and really just honoring, and I agree, Ren, like really just echoing this idea that like we all have the work. Like every single day there is always more work to be done, and again, and the work is also play too as well, right? So we can really like move into this idea of like, oh, we have work, but it's like also it's like we're going on an adventure, like we're going on this grand quest. What are we gonna learn today? And so we can choose to bring this attitude. Your attitude is your altitude. You probably heard that before. We can choose to bring this attitude of you know, being an optimistic as you move through this journey, and not to say being a pessimistic is wrong either. Being a pessimistic it's also very powerful, because I think what being a pessimistic about is really just, more so a reflection of your emotions, going back to kind of what I was talking about, saying like, oh, like something needs to change here. So if you feel like you're being a pessimistic, that's okay. Like, pay attention to where that pessimism is coming from and see that as a message. And then again, at the same time, use that pessimism as a way to be able to transform it into optimism through the fact that it is calling you into, again, more self-actualization by making the choices that are going to help you kind of like move into that higher state of frequency, so to speak. So let's keep things moving along here. Kristen, I'll pass it over to you next, and then anybody else. Again, we're just kind of popcorn style, so finishing it off in the next little bit. So Kristen, go right ahead if you want to jump in next.
So if you guys are watching this on the replay, just go back to when Ren just started speaking and re-listen, because it's like you hit every point I was gonna say. Thank you, Ren. That was absolutely beautifully said. So thank you. It's really easy to begin to judge ourselves as we see others, because we really are reflections of one another. And so just to see that, hold that space for yourself to see that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and you have everything you need in this now moment to continue forward to wherever you're meant to go. So but I wanted to touch just on the fact that, like, as you heal, the people around you heal too. And I just wanted to share from like my own experience, as I have become more devoted to my journey and my healing path, and focusing on those opportunities to create growth in my spaces, I have watched the people that I love in my life do the same. Like, my mom now does meditation, and she's excited about eating healthy. She's like went out and got a whole bunch of vegan and vegetarian books. And my brother, he started getting into crystals and learning about tarot and just opening their minds. And this wasn't by me going to them and saying, oh my gosh, look at this cool new thing I'm doing. It was just them observing me and how my life has changed, and them getting curious about, oh, this thing Kristen did, it's brought her a sense of joy, or wow, she seems really curious or excited. And so if you're on your journey and you're worried about how other people in your life are going to perceive where you're at, or where you're going, or maybe even that fear of like, I don't want to leave them behind, just know that every step you take forward, every step you take as you continue on, it's going to ripple out and affect the people that you love, and even people that you don't even know. It's really beautiful that, like, the tiniest little thing that you do can really ripple out and affect people that you will never meet. Like, you will never know the effect that you've had on these people, but I promise you it does. And so yeah, I just wanted to share that. I love you guys. I really appreciate each and every single one of your journeys. I honor the struggle, the excitement, any of the things that we have shared or that you have shared with others. And yeah, I honor you, and I honor your path, and I'm grateful for you, and the wisdom that you have shared, and will share as you go on. So just sending all my love and encouragement. And if ever anybody needs to reach out or conversate, like, don't ever hesitate to ask, with me or anybody else on this podcast, or even other people. You never know what a conversation can strike, and where it can go from there. So if you're curious, let your curiosity lead you, and follow your joy.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. Just real quick again, like this, and this is where the power of community really comes into play, because again, the hero's journey, there will be parts in the hero's journey where you're not expected to do it alone. Like, it's okay to ask for help. Like, that will actually be an important part of the journey for you to be able to be kind of like willing to receive that help. And you may actually come to understand that in you doing so, it's actually somebody else's hero's journey to be able to play the role where they are helping you as well. So again, as community, let us be there to kind of like hold each other in our challenges, to be able to hold each other up as we continue to rise, and to be able to celebrate with each other in our victories, right? So that is such a powerful thing. And again, as Kristen was saying, like as light guardians, as shifters, people who are intentionally helping us as people who are intentionally helping assist with the shift in consciousness. Like, this is a choice. Like, this idea of creating the archetype of a shifter is something that I haven't explicitly talked about this in the podcast, but it's just kind of ubiquitous to the community. It is literally something where it's like, oh, how do you be a shifter? It's like you know how people would be like, oh, I'm a starseed, I'm an earth seed, and stuff like that. And I think that's awesome. But for me, being a shifter and being a light guardian is a choice. It is a choice. It is something you choose to be, in the context that anybody can be a shifter. Anybody can wake up one day and be like, you know what? I want to help make the world a better place. How am I going to do that? That makes you a shifter, literally just by being able to choose to step into that. And when you really start asking that, the universe kind of creates a path. And the other thing, just real quick, is the idea that, again, you know, but by us doing this, by us kind of living our truth, following our bliss, following our highest excitement, doing that which makes our heart sing, that's such a powerful phrase. Do what makes your heart sing. Like, that was something that somebody else said to me. It stayed with me for years. I'm like, whoa, that's really, really, really powerful. Do what makes your heart sing, because a lot of us don't always ask that. What makes my heart sing? Ask yourself that. But when we do that, we become permissionaries for other people. This is another cool word, permissionaries. So, and again, I know Joshua and Peter, that kind of use this term chargers, is kind of like a context of like people who are charging the way. Pathfinders, you know, people who are literally carving a new route that other people will be able to say, oh, if they can do it, I can do it too. So again, you know, simply by you living your authentic life literally gives other people permission to do the same. So it is kind of like this perpetual kind of like ripple effect and leading by example as well. So again, let's just keep an eye. We'll get things wrapped up maybe like in 10 minutes ish. We might wrap it up, but I don't want to cut anybody off short. So let's just keep going around. Who else wants to just be able to jump in with any additional thoughts, insights, closing wisdom, gratitude, and then we'll get things concluded here for today's podcast. And this has been awesome. Thank you again, everyone, as well. So who wants to be able to jump in? I know everybody's kind of getting tired right now, so it's okay. Yeah, Flash, yeah, go for it. Go right ahead.
I'll jump in one more time. I just really, I want to express my gratitude to everybody, and thanks, Ren, for the laughs, and Kristen too. This has been a really amazing evening, and you all are my mentors. Everyone I'm meeting has just been amazing mentors. And if I could, there's a poem that Derek kind of reminded me of, so I'll just read it really quick. But I wrote this back in like 2008. So, all right. Did I create this moment? Was it thought that turned it into being? Or was its being that created this thought? What was will always be. What is has always been. But what of this moment? It is gone, gone, gone. And yet, it remains. What of this moment? What if? What for? I'll tell you. It is of what has always been. It's as if it will always be. And it is for what shall remain. Love. That's when I wrote like ages ago, like probably one of my first awakening ones. So, and I made it into a piece of art, and I totally recommend if anyone has writing to do, like we did this project where it was for an art class, and you turn it into a tiny book, and then you go out and you leave it everywhere, like you Xerox it and you just leave it, so just kind of little messages out to the world. But thank you all again. I love you all so much.
Thank you, Jessica. That was beautiful. Absolutely. And yeah. And again, just on that note, it's like, how do we help change the world? It's like art. Like art is such a powerful way. So again, because it's through art, that's how we tell a story, and that's how we invite people into the story. A lot of people there's many people living many different stories right now. So let's kind of like focus our attention towards the stories that are going to empower, opposed to disempower. Let's create content again, as a team here of conscious creators and everything like that. Let's create content and environments that are going to encourage people to tune in rather than tune out. So it's like you watch something on TV, it's like, oh, I just want to tune out for a bit. You tune out. It's like, let's make content that invites them to tune into themselves, and tune into them being able to see the hero's journey that they are embarking on, and perhaps already well underway of. So okay, who wants to be able to just share something else before we get close to wrapping it up? Joshua, do you want to jump in either now or later, just with some closing thoughts? You're more than welcome to jump in now if you feel
sure.
called. Yeah. Please, man, by all means, go
I
for it.
got a little poem.
Oh, cool.
Shift realms, step a little deeper, parting to an expanse of discovery, touching horizons of mystery, walking the lines of legend. to emerge and immerse into the heart of your destiny. Open wide and step inside and realize that you are divine. Clear the way as you align with the truth that sits inside. Blurred between the lines, we're honing swords of discernment, kissing clarity with love and finding balance in between. The seams of reality, ever-present awareness, penetrating reception and expanse all form. Goddesses and gods, we become all one. All expressions that restore, we find our way to heaven's door. Within, without, what's in store?
Beautiful. Thank you, Joshua. And please, any just additional closing thoughts and gratitude by all means from the heart.
Sure. Love you guys. Thank you so much for sharing the multifaceted perspective here on the hero's journey. Yeah, it's really interesting to, witness how we all are sharing in the same themes, and we're all sharing in our own rainbow array of unique expressions of the hero's journey. Appreciate you guys. And thanks for everyone tuning in as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Joshua. It's an honor to have you here amongst the round table with everybody else. So beautiful. Thank you for bringing your magic, brother. So beautiful. Awesome. And again, this is just one step on the next part of our journey, right? Again, we come here within Paradigm Shift, and like that's kind of thing that I like about Paradigm Shift, whether or not people realize this. Like there is kind of like this like macro story that unfolds. Like if you keep tuning into Paradigm Shift, you'll actually see from like week to week, it's like watching an episodic thing where we are the characters and we are growing and we're this like real life story that's unfolding. It's really, really cool. So it's been going on for like, you can literally go back and watch this whole please binge watch the entire Paradigm Shift podcast series. There's more episodes that you could listen into the entire lifetime, honestly. All right, okay. Allis is tapping out. Thank you, Allis, for joining in as well. Thank you again, everyone. I know we're just about at the end here. Yeah, we got a full moon coming up soon too, so this is a perfect energy for us to really just kind of be like sparking within ourselves now. Anybody else, just any closing gratitude or just closing thoughts, please, by all means. Jessica, did you want to share something? Yep, go ahead, Jessica.
I just want to say thank you all. I don't really have any words of wisdom for the moment, but I mean, you all will never know how much I appreciate each and every one of you. I mean, I haven't bought a pack of cigarettes in like 7 days, and that's huge. That is so huge. I've been smoking since I was 15. So, yeah. So you all probably really did save my life. For a long time, I knew that's probably how I was going to die. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Jessica. Thank you for your...
Couldn't have did it without you.
That's so powerful. Again, like that's the power of community, right? Like being able to just really find purpose through the connection that we share with each other. So Jessica, thank you for being here and thank you for sharing. We appreciate you. So beautiful. Wonderful. All right. Okay. Again, just kind of moving along here. Any closing gratitude before we probably all fall asleep very soon. So anybody else? Just any closing gratitude? Sonya, go ahead. Go right ahead. Yep.
I just want to say thank you. Like, I really appreciate all of you. I love you all. This is such a really great group, and I'm grateful to be here. And just you're helping me all so much. So thank you for sharing your stories.
Awesome. Thank you, Sonya, as well, for being here. So beautiful. All right. Anybody else who feels like they, again, just any closing gratitude? I know everybody here, you guys have already said plenty. So cool. Okay, so let's move into our closing meditation. So again, just closing notes. Yeah, again, thank you again, everybody, for being a part of this conversation, and continue to like move forward on your hero's journey, celebrating the courage that you already have inside. And we hope that this discussion here today has in some ways kind of like sparked something inside of you, sparked an excitement, help you really like see the magic that is already all around us, and to know that you are so deeply supported and so deeply loved on this journey. And please, by all means, know that you are not alone, and that we are here to be able to walk it together as a team, as a community, as a fellowship, as a tribe. So yeah, let's keep moving forward on this journey together. And I think that's the exciting part about it, is that tomorrow is another day and another opportunity to be able to help grow and learn and accelerate the shift in consciousness through our personal transformation. So thank you again, everyone, for doing the work and for showing up and for adding your energy to this beautiful collective hero's journey that we are co-creating here together. So beautiful. So, okay, let's just move into a little bit of a closing meditation, and then we'll just finish it off real quick here. So, okay. Just inviting everybody to just connect with their heart space. Just give yourself this opportunity to really just breathe. Nice big inhales, nice soft exhale, even a little bit of a sigh on the exhale. And as you breathe here, just bring yourself back to this image of all of us just sitting in this circle. And again, you could even imagine, like literally here, like at the round table, if you want to hold that image in your heart. And just seeing all of us as the heroes that we are, celebrating and honoring the many paths that have led us to this point. And just be in this moment just for a little bit longer as you just feel this love, feel this vibration, feel this inspiration. And you can imagine all of us just gently kind of standing up together and just moving into a little bit of a group hug. You can give yourself a little bit of a gentle hug right now and add a little bit of a sway to your body. As you feel all of us just kind of synchronize into this shared rhythm, this shared breath, this shared journey. And as you're in this space, holding others as you are held, just allow yourself to be able to speak any message of inspiration to the heart of all the people who are tuned in right now and beyond. What message do you want to say to their heart? Something to be able to honor the hero within them, something to nurture and support them. What do you say to everybody here in this moment? Beautiful. Just allow yourself to receive any of that message and gratitude as well. You can slowly, gently release the hug if you're hugging yourself. And again, just taking a moment here to just kind of like see everybody here in this circle. And really just allowing ourselves to breathe in the excitement for what comes next. And to know and to trust and to have that deep faith that whatever comes next, that we will walk through this path together. And that we are strong together. Beautiful. So gently from here, just take a couple more breaths, maybe your hand on your chest, deep inhales. Exhale, nice gentle sigh if you choose. Deep inhale. And just taking this opportunity to just finish this meditation and just kind of say to yourself like something along the lines, or literally this exact phrase, I am the hero of my journey. So an I am the hero of my journey. Go ahead and just speak that to your heart right now. Beautiful. Allowing yourself to connect with the hero that has always been inside of you. Nurturing that seed, allowing yourself to grow each and every single day. You're doing great. And gently from here, we'll carry this vibration with us. May it continue to support you and nurture you and guide you throughout this day, the weekend, and the weeks to come. And slowly, when you are ready, feeling activated, deeply inspired and loved and supported, gently bring your awareness back to your physical body as you slowly wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and open your eyes and return your awareness to the space around you. Beautiful, just gentle breaths here. Awesome. We'll just take a moment here to just kind of do a quick little eye gazing session with everybody here. If you guys just want to take a moment to just kind of like look at each other. And for those of you on YouTube, you're welcome to just kind of like join us, please. I don't mind. Just seeing all these beautiful heroes. Yes. Awesome. Cool. All right. You guys ready? You guys ready for this next part of the journey? Feeling that excitement? Beautiful. All right, so just getting ready to be able to conclude things off here, just mentioning a couple things before we wrap it up. Again, be sure to connect with all the people that you heard on air tonight by following their links. They're posted into the YouTube version of this video, so be sure to check that out, and you can follow them on Instagram and their other platforms as well. If you want to be able to join on air for future podcasts, definitely be sure to check out my Patreon. That's where you can join as a leading member at the $11 monthly contribution, plus all the other benefits that come with being a leading member to support you on your journey as a conscious media creator and help you level up in that realm. And again, if you even just want to be able to send any single PayPal contributions, you can do that as well. Those help support the ongoing work that goes into creating the broadcast and building the space for the community. And also you can check out the item shop. And yeah, please, by all means, continue to tell your friends, tune into this on Spotify at Paradigm Shift Radio, and join us again for future episodes. And we'll be doing those again Thursdays at 8 p.m. EDT, 5 p.m. PDT. So stay tuned. We got lots more awesome stuff coming your way here within the Paradigm Shift community. If you're watching this Thursday night, join us for Friday morning's team meditation at 10 a.m. EDT. And yeah, wishing you guys a beautiful day, evening, and have an amazing rest of your week, wherever you are, whenever you are. We love you so much, and thank you for being a part of this journey. So with that said, we will conclude this broadcast here, and just inviting everybody to join me in sending some love and making some noise as we finish off this broadcast officially. So thank you again, everyone, for joining in. Let's go ahead and make some noise. Let's show them your wolf howls, your battle cries, anything that you guys want to be able to express in this moment. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you again, team. Much love and welcome to the future. Heroes unite. Yes.
Did you take a screenshot? I would have, but my phone died. Oh.
Special thank you to Danny Leonardo, whose music is featured at the beginning and end of this podcast. Be sure to check out more of Danny's work in the YouTube info below. Thank you, Danny.